Hello everybody, how are we doing? How is everybody feeling? We're in 2023 now. It feels the same as it did. I'm expecting a suit. Apologies, no suit. It's Friday. I've got that Friday feeling. I got home from work, played football after work, so my hair is an absolute sham. Therefore, hat goes on. But I didn't have a suit, just a hand. So no suit, unfortunately, for me. But I thought we'd have a little bit of a catch-up. It's been a little while. I know that we obviously... kind of like motor-powered Mohawk. Who's that? Polish Eddie, you're going to have to... Is he someone I should know about? Probably. Hello, lads. How are we doing? Are we prepared for the 2023 season? Well, hold your horses, because we're still in January. We're still in January at the moment. So just, hold the horses for just a moment. But we are ramping up slowly to the 2023 season. I feel like it's award season, though. We haven't done a 2022 awards as of yet. And I know 2022 feels like a little bit of a long time ago now. What do you mean, James? We finished that. We did the whole of December. We've had a month. We've had Christmas. I'm well aware. But I do like to reflect on the entire year rather than, just at the end of the season. And there's a lot that's happened. He's a Formula 1 YouTuber. Oh, wait. I think I do know who you mean. Maybe. We'll double check it. But what I thought we would do is, well, this is the first Friday of the new year, hopefully. Double checks. I think it's the first Friday of the new year. It's the 6th of January. It's got to be the first Friday of the new year. So I want to start something a little bit different for this year on the channel. So as you guys know, and as lots of you have been around for a little while, I live stream qualifying, sprint races, and the races themselves, right? Absolutely love it. And love spending the races with you guys. And I just feel like my goal was always to stream. So if you've been around for a little while, I've explained this a couple of times. I started this channel as a live streaming channel. That was what I wanted to do. That is what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to build a community that I could watch Formula 1 with and talk to about Formula 1 and just kind of bounce ideas around. And that's what I want to continue to build. And I feel like the channel lost a little bit of its direction last year. I don't know why. I had a tough last year. I think everybody had a tough 2022. I went through some ups and downs. The channel went through some ups and downs. I tried to change things a lot. I did weird videos that I'm not 100% sure why I even did. It ebbed and flowed, did 2022. But I feel like it's time for me to really understand what I want to do. And I realized, who are my favorite content creators right now? Atrioc, Stans, Ludwig, big American streamers who do longer live streams with their communities and build those communities together. And that's what I want to do. I realize that I like making Formula 1 videos. I much prefer just having a chat with you lads. I really do. Like, I absolutely just love having a little natter, getting to know you guys, and talking Formula 1. So that's what we're going to do a lot more often in 2023. That is going to be the vibe of the channel. We're going to have a lot of live streams that are a little bit more planned, a little bit more less off the cuff. We're going to continue to do quali and live streams for the sprints and live streams for the races and live streams whenever something fun happens. But we are also going to have regular chit chats, regular sit down, all of us together. Because we've got a wonderful community. Let's not lie to ourselves. We are wonderful human beings. Each and every one of us. We love spending time with one another because we are lovely people. And because we leave likes on the video. I'm joking. But I do want to kind of make Friday a bit of a thing. So for me, Friday is kind of the best free evening of the week. It's just kind of worked out that way. We will do streams sort of various days of the week too, but I feel like Friday is going to be the one. And I'm also going to probably cut down on the number of videos on the channel. Maybe just to like one a week, but it's going to be one video that's a little bit longer, as opposed to 2 or 3 videos that are like 5, 6, 7 minutes. It might be like 1, 10, 12, 15-minute video. I just feel like that's more fun. And that's a little bit better. Liked by Pierre Gasly. Always liked by Pierre Gasly. He's the man, the myth, the legend. I'm so looking forward to Pierre Gasly in an Alpine car. He's a Formula 1 YouTuber. Does the channel now have merch? It's just a one-off hoodie. It does not have merch. This is a lovely gift that I got from a friend. And to be fair, it is lovely. It's one of the nicest hoodies I have ever owned. Like, this is... It feels so nice to wear. You know when you buy the Formula 1 hoodies and they're like 70 quid and you're like, how on earth can they justify this price for Formula 1 merchandise? And then you put it on and you realize that actually it's one of the most comfortable jumpers you're ever going to buy in your life. This is very similar. Like, it has that kind of vibe to it. But because they purchased this through a manufacturer that I know and that I have an account with, I can get some of these. So if, like, you guys actually do want a jumper with my logo on it, as mad as that would be, I might be able to get you one. I might be able to get you one. But we'll have a chat. We'll have a little chat about it. That would be very fun to be able to gift you guys some merchandise or something for the 2023 season. So we'll have to wait and see. Write it down. Rocket Powered Motorhawk Formula 1 2022 Awards. Maybe we'll watch it. Maybe we'll watch it together. Maybe we'll watch it together. Because I do want to kind of give this a little bit of a... little bit more of a Formula 1-y vibe. So it's going to go kind of 2 ways. Obviously, because we're still going to have the qualifying and the sprint races and the races streams on one side of things, they're going to take up a lot of the weekends of the year. There's 24 races this year. It's quite a few of the weekends. We only get 52. So Friday is going to be more still Formula 1 related. I still want to, stay in my lane. But a little bit more, fun. A little bit more of watching stuff together, reacting to stuff. And I feel like, let's just start off. So I've got a little bit of a plan. Should I share it with you? Can we all see this? Probably, maybe. This is Notion, by the way. If anybody doesn't use Notion... I don't know how. It literally runs my entire life. But this is what I'm feeling for today. I thought we'd have a little bit of a catch-up. We're kind of doing that now. That's this bit. How's everyone been up to? Any big stories over Christmas? We'll kind of have a little chat about. But I'm not too worried about talking about like the niche Formula 1 stuff that's going on. Unless there's a good video about niche Formula 1 stuff. Then I'm going to just catch up on some videos that I want to watch with you guys, and I think it'd be quite good to watch Nico Rosberg's top 5 together. Do you reckon Lewis Hamilton's in there? I reckon Lewis Hamilton's probably in the top 5, don't you? I feel like he probably might be. And then there was also a really good video about Sauber that I wanted to watch as well, and depending on time, we'll kind of get to that. And then we're going to do the 2021 not applicable Formula 1 awards ceremony. Okay, it's coming up. That's our main little segment. And then again, if we've got time, we'll have a chat about this week's video. And this week's video was one change for each Formula 1 driver on the Formula 1 grid after their 2022 season, kind of reacting a little bit to their 2022, going through the highs, the lows, and then giving them one thing to really work on for the 2023 season. This is El Plan, indeed, Alvaro. I feel like it's important to have a plan, and I've got one. And I feel like Aston Martin right now. I've got the plan ready, raring to go. So if you're interested in that, and that's something that you want to be involved in, that's going to be a Friday thing. And as I said, it's going to change up. We'll do various bits and pieces. Today it's an awards ceremony. Maybe next week it's a little bit of something else. Maybe the week after is something else. I don't want to give too many of my ideas away. But, over the winter break, I've sat down, had a little post-it note. I've also realised that post-it notes are the best thing in my life. I now have post-it notes in every single room of my house. And I literally wrote whenever I had a live stream idea, wrote it on a post-it note, and I put it on the wall over there. And we're just going to tick them off as we go along. Going to tick them off as we go along. And we're going to have a lovely time doing it. You were in rehab from November 14 till December 15. Sober life is good, man. Highly recommend it to everyone. Mate, it's the first step. You've always got to take that first step. It's the trickiest step, but you've done it. And you're there now. First step's always trickiest. I remember one of my siblings was a smoker. Like 50 a day, like proper smoker. And it was always that first step. It was always like the first week. Once you've done a week, you're done. Once she had stopped for a week, she never went back ever again. It's been like years now. It's that first week. It's that first step. Which is why we're starting 2023 off right. And the first Friday, we're live, we're ready, we're raring to go, we're streaming. But Christmas was a little bit of a madness. I apologize that there was less content on the channel over Christmas in particular. Mainly because I was planning 2023. Had a little bit of a sit down, think about what I really wanted to do with the channel for 2023. But also because it was just chaos. Just absolute chaos. I don't know. Like, I haven't talked about my family too much on the streams. They sort of pop in every now and then. Obviously, I live on my own, so you're not going to like see any of them or anything like that. But my Christmas was absolute chaos. I got this. I got this. Where is it? This. I got this for Christmas. That was my Christmas present, which I feel like was the Formula One gift of choice for everybody. I was not surprised in any way whatsoever when I opened it up. In fact, I like saw a box with my name on it. And basically the way that my parents work is they kind of give a budget to my sisters. They have something that they want because they like stuff, and I'm just a simple man. I'm a simple boy. I didn't really know what I wanted, so I was like, surprise me. And this is the surprise, and it really wasn't a surprise. I should have known as soon as my mum went onto the internet. She'd have gone, what does James like, what does James do with his Formula 1, and she'd have definitely just typed in Formula 1 gifts. In fact, if you type in Formula 1 gifts into Google, is it the first thing that comes up? I reckon it is. Formula 1 gifts. Gift ideas, UK. Okay, it's second. It's second on the list if you type in Formula 1. Oh, that doesn't work. It's second on the list if you type in Formula 1 gifts. It's there. It's second on the list. And the first one is a Lego Mercedes. And she knows that I'm a McLaren fan. So I feel like I saw the path that she took, and I managed to get myself a Formula 1 McLaren for Christmas. I'm not complaining at all whatsoever. I absolutely love it. It took me 10.5 hours to put together, but well worth it. 10.5 hours well spent is what I'd say. And now we have a Lego McLaren in the background. Second thing to notice in the background, for you keen-eyed viewers out there, if you've been watching the past couple of videos, you'll have noticed this bad boy. Hands up if we know what track this is. Let me know in the comments if you know what track that is. But I do have my first full, like, affiliate thing. I don't know the symbol for affiliate. I feel like I should learn a little bit of sign language. That'd be good to, like, intersperse a little bit of sign language in. Yeah, I have my first full affiliate thing with Formula Neon, and they are a wonderful, wonderful company. I've had chats to them back and forth. I was a little bit hesitant. You know me, I'd never want to get anything or show you guys anything that I didn't truly like or truly sort of believe in. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be like, here's loads of stuff, just gonna shill this all to you. Stuff, random content-y things. It was something that I wanted, and you might have noticed that even before this got delivered, because I was in talks with them, I kind of left this space a little bit blank. And some of you were quite annoyed about that, and I was quite annoyed about that. I left that space a little bit blank. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I was thinking, you know, maybe like a Formula 1 poster, Formula 1 bits and pieces. But I feel like this is better. This is just so much better. It is indeed. It is indeed the Singapore Grand Prix. The one in my opinion, the best Grand Prix, the Singapore Grand Prix. It is absolutely phenomenal. I just love it. I just absolutely love it. It just ties the whole room together. But yeah, my first full affiliate, so it's going to be there in the background at all points. If you would like one yourself, there is a link in the description down below. Anytime you buy anything using that link and then using my code, then you can give a little bit of kickback to your boy, Jim. What size is the neon track on the wall? That is a medium, believe it or not. They do bigger than that. And I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want a bigger one than a medium. Because I got the tape measure out. You know when you do those adult things? This happens to me very rarely. But you have to properly get like an adult thing out. So I got a tape measure out. Like, yep. Yeah. And double checked, and I was like, if I get a large, it was literally going to be like off the screen. The larges are big. They are very, very big indeed. So that's a medium. And they do little desk ones as well. And I do kind of want a little desk one as well, but I don't know what track to get. So I kind of left the little desk one for a minute until I've sorted out which one I would like. But yeah, Formula Neon, bang, in the description. That's the one. That's the one for you. If you'd like a Formula Neon track, highly, highly recommend. Highly, highly recommend. I mean, if you're gonna spell my name, spell it like right. No. Anyway, shall we get into it? Shall we delve into what is going on in our lives? So as I said, I've got a couple of little videos that I haven't watched yet this week that I would like to watch. Starting with Nico Rosberg, ex-Formula 1 world champion, 2016 world champion himself. He came out with his top 5 Formula 1 drivers of the 2022 season. And what I feel like we should do is definitely watch it. Because I want to know who Nico Rosberg thinks... Oh, wait. How have I set this up? I want to know who Nico Rosberg thinks are the top drivers of the 2022 season. Should we get our guesses in? I feel like he's probably going to go. I reckon Lewis Hamilton is in there. Obviously, teammates together, good buddies, pals, friends. I reckon George Russell's in there because of Mercedes. He'll definitely have picked some Mercedes drivers to go in there, wouldn't he? Verstappen's got to be in there. Do you reckon he's gone for like a rogue shout? Do you reckon he's gone for like an Alex Albon or something? He might have done. He might have done. You know, Nico Rosberg doesn't go for the simple route a lot of the time when it comes to these things. He's probably gone for a little bit of a rogue shout somewhere in there. But I reckon he's gone both Mercedes guys, Verstappen, maybe... Oh, Vettel. It'll have gone Vettel, right? German, retiring. Probably would have gone Vettel as well. They're my little guess. You pre-watched the video. See, I haven't seen it yet. Feel like we... I don't know. I just haven't had the time. It's something that's been on my watch list all week. Haven't got around to it, so we're going to watch it together. Let's have a little go.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the top 5 of the year video from Year of F1. Top 5 drivers just coming out of the Monaco tunnel here in my Rimac Nevera. Yeah, so top 5.
Love that. Love that little flex from Nico Rosberg there. Don't know if you caught it. Little flex. Little flex from Nico. What a man. What a man.
For me, we're just going to go to the pier now actually, because we're going to do some hero shots for another video. It's a beautiful day here in Monaco. And top 5. I mean, first of all, let me know your comments below also. Comment below. I'd love to hear your top 5.
Your top 5.
It's not an easy one this year. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult. But anyways, in any case, for me, the year of F1 was so awesome. Such a great season. Even though one guy dominated so much, it didn't really make it boring. You know, it was just so interesting all the time, so exciting, so many things changing.
I feel like that's a hint. Sebastian Vettel's going to be in there. He's gonna be in there, isn't he? I should have thought about that. I should have thought about that myself beforehand. I didn't think. Of course, Sebastian Vettel's going to be in there. Also, Nico Rosberg needs to... I know that he doesn't script anything, and he doesn't need to. He's a Formula 1 world champion. But, he's not very snappy. He's not very snappy with a lot of what he says, is he?
I thought it was great. So I think the rule changes really worked very well to make overtaking easier. We can confirm that. So they've done a great job with that, of course, led by Ross Brawn. So thank you, Ross, and team, for the effort on that. Also, just look at the overtaking statistics. The amount of overtakes this year compared to last year, so many more. That is really just a proof, you know, of how the new rules are working.
Again, just a little flex, isn't it? A little flex on us. By the way, guys, I'm a Formula One world champion. By the way, guys, I live in Monaco. Just a little, just a sprinkling of flex in his top 5 drivers of Formula One 2022.
So we've come to the pier now. This is like the hero shot location here in Monaco, with Monaco in the background. There we go. One, I would definitely go for Max Verstappen. Just incredible the level that he's in at now. You know, he's driving he's so fast, so consistent, never makes any mistakes, so confident, and incredible. Because also, you know, he didn't have the fastest car in qualifying for most of the year. Leclerc had 9 poles, I think, at least. And yet Verstappen then always came through, like never made any crashes, and won 15 races in the year out of 22.
Yeah, he does make a good point, to be fair. Max Verstappen, I mean, we all know Max Verstappen was good. We all know Max Verstappen was very, very good. But yeah, I hadn't actually thought about that. The fact that he didn't have any crashes. He didn't make any, like, big mistakes. You know what I mean? I think I said that in my video. You know, like, Hungary, he had a spin. Spain, he went through the gravel. Singapore, he went deep on Lando Norris, but like still all of those managed to like work out in the end for him. Like they didn't cost him too much in like the grand scheme of things. Max Verstappen, number 1, can't argue with it, definitely.
That's just unbelievable. It's not the all-time record in terms of percentage of race wins for the season. That still goes to Schumacher, who won 13 races out of 18 back in 2000 and, if I had to guess, 2 or 4. But it's still, it's still 15 races in years is a big record, and amazing driving. And for me, it's like almost sure. Sorry, there's a truck coming now, but for me, it's really,
yeah, Brazil as well.
Like almost
Brazil
sure that he's going to be a top 5 driver of all time.
I kind of forgot about Brazil.
With the likes of Senna.
Yeah,
Hamilton.
Brazil was bad actually, wasn't it? Brazil was really bad, but that was kind of Max Verstappen being a little bit. I just feel like because he'd already won the championship, and because he was just fighting for these accolades, and because I think he kind of knew that Brazil wasn't going to be a win. I think he'd kind of come to terms with that. And because he knew that that was going to kind of cost him the overall percentage for like most, like he knew that he'd already got most wins in a season. He was going to get most points in a season, but because he didn't win in Brazil, that kind of cost him that percentage point to Michael Schumacher, right? So I think that was out of a little bit of frustration. Max Verstappen still has that in him. Don't get me wrong. He's still Max Verstappen, still has that character that is questionable. I think questionable is a fair way to judge it. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not even anywhere near the middle. There we
go. And Schumacher and someone else, where the fourth one, who would you pick? Who would you take as the fourth? Fangio, of course. That's quite easy actually. So it's Schumacher, Senna, Hamilton, Fangio. That's top 4. That's quite an easy one, I think. And then you would put Verstappen there very soon. Not yet, because he has only 2 titles, but he'll be there like very soon, I'm sure. So that's pretty impressive. You know, he's only 24, 25 years old.
He's not there yet.
Then second place, now starts to get a bit more difficult. So let me know your views also.
It's going to be Lewis.
Second place, I would go for George Russell. First year in Mercedes.
Okay.
He did an incredibly consistent year with such a difficult car. You know, they got the car so wrong at the beginning of the season. They were trying to figure it out, doing different setups and everything. He was just always there.
They weren't doing that with George.
Top 5, like almost
I feel like he's very cut. Maybe I should have seen the little dig at Lewis almost. You know, little dig from Rosberg here. Puts George in second place. George obviously beat him in the standings, fair enough. But they did tinker with Hamilton's car way more than they tinkered with George Russell's car.
It's incredible. So you just got to give your respect to that, I think. And with Lewis Hamilton as a teammate, to beat him over the course of a whole year. And I think George just did a really incredible season. He was always fast. Even when Lewis always has these special days, very often. where he's untouchable. But even then, George was right behind him. He's always right behind him at the very least, and if not in front of him. So really did a great job there. That's not to say that Lewis didn't do a good season as well. He was much more unlucky.
He's going to put Lewis
more stuff going on.
He puts Lewis 3, right?
Just a very mixed start to the year. But I'll come to Lewis in a second. So George second. That's you got to put him there. Then you got to put. Also, if you look at where George is compared to Leclerc and Perez on the points with a Mercedes, that was like nowhere, in terms of car speed. So close to them for P2 in the championship.
So I think was he 30 points off Perez?
Then comes Leclerc. I'll put Leclerc because he put on a great fight.
Okay, puts Leclerc in there. I thought this was going to be Hamilton next. I mean, Hamilton's coming up at some point. On the George Russell thing, though, the only reason I didn't have George Russell in my top 5, I don't think. No, I'm trying to think back to my driver rankings. I don't think I had Russell in my top 5. Very, very close to my top 5. The only thing was, as you say, a little bit more mistake heavy. There was a couple of races in the season where George Russell made some proper big errors and they did not go the way that, they should have done. If anything, it was kind of annoying because George never got punished for any of this. Like, George obviously got punished by the stewards, but he didn't get punished in terms of, like, actual... what's it called? Like, actual positions, because, like, he crashed into Carlos Sainz, and yet Carlos was out of the race and George continued on. He crashed into Sergio Perez in France, managed to continue on and kind of ruined Perez's stint. He crashed into Mick Schumacher in Singapore, and also Mick Schumacher's race completely ruined. George Russell just continues on as if nothing happened. Like, it was one of those weird things where George Russell, even though he had those little battles and bumps, he always came out on the right side of it. And that was kind of the villain era of George Russell. So I don't think would have George Russell in my top 5. Maybe just. I think George Russell was like teetering on 5th. But obviously the Mercedes bias a little bit here from Rosberg. And I think he wanted to have a little bit of a dig at Hamilton. I can kind of see why he's put George Russell in there. Charles Leclerc's definitely top 5. Definitely top 5.
To the championship in the first part of the season. Especially hitting around running in the very beginning so fast. He's really great speed.
Yeah, he was so good.
The team let him down a lot. Of course, he also had a couple of mistakes in there, which you can't really make when you're trying to win against Verstappen in the championship. But still, I think he deserves to be P2 for the season. He's a fantastic
driver
Bottas
out there. So, yeah, maybe, to be fair. Bottas was kind of guinea piggy, wasn't
he? Now it starts to get even more difficult. Definitely I'll have Lewis up there because he was very, very unlucky also. I mean, super unlucky, like especially
I knew Lewis was coming.
So many things that were like really,
but
really
I thought
luck.
Lewis might be 5th.
If it wouldn't be for that, I think he would have been like really on a par with George in terms of points also, if not maybe in front.
So that makes sense. I completely forgot Leclerc before we started the video. But that makes sense to me now. He's put both Mercedes cars in there. He's put Verstappen in there, Leclerc in there. I'm interested to see who this 5th one is. Do you have any guesses in the chat? Oh, yeah, Joe as well, the crash with Joe. But that did cost Russell because he did get out of the car and therefore, like, not finish the race. So that did cost Russell. That was his first DNF, wasn't it? As much as Merck did tinker with Lewis's setup, George still had to deliver. That was very true. That is very true. I just feel like they were a lot closer than people give Lewis credit for. I'm not a massive Lewis fan. I know I get that a lot because I'm British, but I'm not like a huge Lewis fan. I'm not this massive Lewis head like some other people that I know. But I do think that Lewis was better than people are giving him credit for. And I feel like George was like a little bit worse than the season really made him look, to be honest. If you should place the McLaren flat on the wall, pointing upward towards the neon track. Ooh, that would be cool. That would be cool. How on earth would I do that? How on earth would I do that? I don't think we're going to ever really know how much testing was really going on, to be honest. Yeah, that's very true. Well, I don't know, though, because Lewis and Toto kind of came out and chatted about it quite a bit. The fact they were changing things up quite often in the car. 5th, though, it's got to be Lando. It's got to be Lando. Lando was number 2 for me. If Lando isn't in Nico Rosberg's top 5, I don't know what he's been watching. But I am also worried that Sebastian Vettel is going to be in there because the German connection makes sense that he's also got a German in there. It would make sense to me. Then who else might be on the cusp? I'm not sure. Oh, there's a bracket for it. Maybe that's the one.
So definitely Lewis has to be. It could be even like equal third with Leclerc, but let's put him fourth. Come on, let's put Lewis fourth, and let's put him. Yeah, because Lewis, especially in the latter part of the season when the car was starting to get better, he could really show again how he's still at his very best. I mean, he did some incredible drives there at the end of the season. They were ultra special, you know, fighting for race wins there at the end of the season. He just really showed that he's still at his very best, and that's why next year, if the car is good,
I should do this,
he can definitely challenge for the championship. Although it's going to be a good battle with George.
No road mic on.
And sorry for noise again. Don't know what they're doing here, but. And then who do I put? Yeah, definitely. You know, Lando Norris. Also, Daniel Ricciardo is a great driver. Let's not forget that. And Lando has just been really like putting.
I was worried then.
Like beating him so much the last 2 years. So I think definitely Lando needs to be there. You know, I struggle to put him on the same level as Lewis for fourth, even though because he's.
Well, yeah, he's kind of
should be there.
That's
although,
fair enough. I mean, he was better.
Please don't drop that on my car. That's the only thing I ask. Do not drop that on the car. He did such an incredible job.
Rosberg's video.
Daniel is a great driver, you know, and Lando just beat him all the time for 2 years, and especially this year again, beat him fair and square in such a big way. Always up there. But okay, let's put him fifth then, huh? Let's put him fifth.
Yes.
I'd love to put Fernando Alonso there. He was so unlucky. His car broke down so many times. But he had so many special drives this year, like really at that age where he's at, to still be at such a high level was really exceptional. So I love watching Fernando drive. He would be my easy sixth place. I would love to put him in the top five.
Top 5, top 6,
difficult.
top 6. And then
where do you put him?
Then I put Vettel
okay. Verstappen, George Russell, Leclerc, Lewis, Lando Norris, and if you see my thumb. No, you can't see my thumb. Thumb 1 + 5 is Fernando Alonso. Yeah. There we go. So let me know your top 5 in the comments below. We're doing some more hero shots here. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and now I'm gonna go top mountain. We're gonna go right up there with the Rimac because we're doing our high performance maximum attack drive. We're gonna test the limit of this car. So hit the notification bell as well for that video. I think
we might have to watch that. To be fair, I do want to see Nico Rosberg absolutely rattle a car up a mountain. That seems a very entertaining watch. I was kind of expecting a Vettel in there. I'm glad Lando got in the top 5. I knew both of the Mercedes guys were going to be in there. I kind of half forgot about Leclerc, which is on me. Fernando is a 6th pick. Yeah, maybe. Maybe Fernando, sorry, is a 6th pick. I'm glad that Lando is in there. I did think he was going to go like rogue. I thought he was going to like pick someone out of absolutely nowhere. You know what I mean? He would have been like, I feel like Nicholas Latifi had a good year. I'm going to put him in at 4th. And I was like, I feel like it's a bit weird to have George Russell in 2nd though. I'd definitely have Leclerc higher. I'd have Leclerc higher. I'd have Norris higher. For me. But that might just be for me. Ooh. Jeddah, Catalonia, Silverstone, Austria, Zandvoort, Kota, Brazil were all exceptional from Fernando. Fernando was brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Fernando Alonso was absolutely brilliant. I just feel like... Was Fernando better than I'm really giving him credit for? I feel like Fernando Alonso is such a difficult one to judge sometimes as well. Maybe I am being a little bit harsh on Fernando. Maybe he is better than I'm giving him credit for. Or had a better season than I'm giving him credit for over the course of the year. Because he was very, very good. Yeah, it's close. It's close between Lando and Fernando, isn't it? Imagine if Lando and Fernando were both at McLaren. Obviously, I know that Fernando would never, ever, ever go back to McLaren after what happened. But that would be a cool driver lineup, I feel. If you had to pick just like 2 drivers, let's say outside of the top 3 teams, because obviously if you're sensible and you're like, okay, you can pick 2 drivers from any teams, go. It should be Verstappen and Hamilton. That should just be your picks right now. Maybe Lando. But yeah, I feel like Lando and Fernando would be a great, like, outside of the top 6. That would get McLaren 4th place, which I don't think McLaren are going to get 4th place next year. I don't think they're going to get 4th place next year. Cheers from Chile. Oh, I'd love to go to Chile. Wishing another GP in South America. Where would you go, though? Where would you go? Brazil has such a link to Formula One. I talked about this when we were in Brazil. The fact there isn't a Brazilian driver on the grid, and the fact there hasn't been a Brazilian driver on the grid for a little while, does kind of like pain me a little bit. I feel like there should always be one Brazilian driver on the grid. There's nationalities that should always be on the grid, in my opinion. I feel like there's always got to be a British driver. There's always got to be a German driver. There's always got to be a Brazilian driver. There's always got to be an Italian driver, which there isn't as well. I just feel like there's nationalities that, I know Formula One is the world sport. I know it goes everywhere, but like it's just so synonymous with some of those circuits, and having a home driver in one of those circuits as well, so good. Other than Brazil, Lando didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, he was super good. Lando was the second best driver on the grid. Just telling you. Doing a fantasy Formula One league for 2023. Maybe we could. Let me write that down. Fantasy Formula One, because we could do that like on this Friday, right? We could definitely have a little chat about Fantasy F1. Fantasy F1. It's not something that I've got into much recently. I did try and do fantasy football at the beginning of this season. I like really tried to do fantasy football. But it's just so long, man. It's so long. I'd much rather to do fantasy Formula One. But I didn't do it last year. Don't worry, McLaren no longer have a GP2 engine. That is very true. We are no longer McLaren Honda, thank goodness. But also, I feel like he still wouldn't go back. I feel like he still wouldn't go back. Cuts tyres, does Fernando. Just cuts tyres completely. A fin. Yeah, you're right. There's always a fin. Always a fin. And I wish that fin was still Kimi Räikkönen, if I'm honest with you. But like young Kimi Räikkönen. I feel like if we could just have Kimi Räikkönen again, that would be so good. That'd be so good. We need a new Kimi. I want that personality back on the grid more than anything else. And also young Kimi. It's not like, again, I got into Formula One like after Kimi had won his titles. Or his title, sorry. But he was so quick, man. I went back and watched him in his like McLaren days. He was so rapid for such a young driver. So rapid. Then went to Ferrari and won his championship, and it kind of ebbed and flowed as Ferrari do. And then went back to Ferrari again, and that was not the one. Also, his Lotus days. Oh, I was such a big Lotus fan. I was more of a Lotus fan for a little while than a McLaren fan, which I feel is slightly sacrilegious. And that I changed teams. I'm sorry, guys. I changed teams. Well, I didn't change teams, but I just really supported Lotus. I've worked at Lotus. I've got a Lotus badge there from the Lotus factory, from when I did work experience at the Lotus factory. I loved Lotus. And the fact that Kimi Räikkönen bankrupted them is hilarious, but also just like so Kimi, isn't it? So Kimi to bankrupt an entire factory just by himself. Kimi's so good. Yeah, there's always got to be a fin. Always a fin on the grid. Talking about people who are always on the grid, I do want to watch this video as well about Sauber. Because obviously the Sauber ebbs and flows. It does seem weird that we don't really talk about Sauber very much. Like, a lot of the time we talk about Alfa, and obviously Alfa Romeo, the title sponsor. Alfa Romeo is the name on the car and the name of the team. But I feel like we should talk about Sauber more. They've been around for a very long time, and they've never really got to the peaks that you expect from a team that's kind of been around and done it. Like, Sauber have never really pushed towards the top of the grid at any point. whenever they've been basically anything, right? When they were BMW Sauber, when they were just Sauber, when they became Alfa Romeo, now they're going to become Audi. Like, they just really haven't pushed the boundaries of where they need to be. And therefore, there's this video here that I've also had on my watch list for this weekend. And we're going to watch it together. A little bit of Saubery stuff. I never know how to say his name. Rain Formula 1. So underrated. So underrated. Rain. But we're going to have a quick little watch of his Sauber vid.
Sauber is a name we don't often hear around the paddock anymore, and it's a real shame. Many new Formula 1 fans probably don't know this, but behind the red and white facade of the Alfa Romeo team lies a name that's been around the grid since 1992, and that outlasts every other apart from
1992. I didn't think it had been that long. For some reason, I thought Sauber had come into Formula 1 in like maybe the mid-2000s, a bit like Red Bull. 1992 Sauber have been around since, and they've never really been that like elite team at any point. Obviously Audi are going to try and change that, but that's mad that they've been around for so long and they've never even like really come to the cusp of the top of the grid.
Williams, Ferrari and McLaren. With the recent announcement that they are going to become Audi in 2026 and Andreas Seidel is taking over as CEO effective immediately, we're going to take a look at what a roller coaster it has been for the only Swiss Formula 1 outfit who managed to come back from the bottom many times, and that has had super important names like Mercedes, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, BMW and now Audi by its side. Here's the story of the Sauber Formula 1 team. Founded by Peter Sauber in 1970, their first car didn't compete in Formula 1.
Long.
They instead were a sports car manufacturer, and since the beginning, they were at the very top. The Sauber C1 was their first car ever built, and Friedrich Hürzeler became champion with it. The first internationally significant Sauber was the C5, which did quite well in the 1977 and 1978 24 Hours of Le Mans. 4 years later, Peter Sauber was commissioned to build the car for the Group C World Sports Car Championship. The C8 came 2 years later, and fitted with a Mercedes engine, won the 1,000-kilometer race at the Nürburgring. On the back of that result, Peter Sauber convinced Mercedes to return to racing for the first time since 1955. From here on out, they acted as their official works team, and the Silver Arrow was reborn.
Do you reckon they're a little bit gutted that they're not linked with the Mercedes team anymore? I convinced Mercedes to get back into racing. They hadn't raced since 1955. I came in, I talked to the Mercedes guys, I got them on. We decided to go into Formula 1. Mercedes, they did their own thing. They did their own thing. You might have seen them. They did their own thing. But we got them back into it.
In 1989, the Sauber Mercedes C9 won the 24 Hours of Le Mans with a 1-2-5 finish. The following year, they won the World Sports Car Championship with the help of a little-known driver named Michael Schumacher, after which he got a testing contract with the Jordan Formula 1 team. I wonder what became of him.
Mad.
Anyway, looking to enter Formula 1, they started a joint project in the summer of 91, with preparations to enter for 1993. With this new project in place, Sauber built a factory where the company stood in Switzerland, as opposed to the other contractors all based in the UK. Mercedes eventually withdrew from the project, but did not pull all the funding, helping build the Sauber C12. As a side note, the C used in all the chassis names is always in reference to Peter Sauber's wife, Christine. In late 1992, the first tests of the C12 were underway, with an Elmore engine. They were set to enter the grid for 1993. The very first race of the season was South Africa, and on their debut they turned heads due to their stunning black livery and amazing performance, getting their first points with a 5th place finish. They ended the season tied in points with Lotus, and got...
Imagine coming into your first Formula 1 Grand Prix and getting a 5th place finish as a brand new... Imagine if Audi do that. If Audi come in and get a 5th place finish in their first race, we're going to be turning heads. That is going to be mental. Yeah, Michael Schumacher. He was there. That is crazy as well. The fact that, like, before he was at Jordan, he was in a Mercedes Sauber. Obviously, he went to the Mercedes team. You know, never did Sauber a favour, did he, in Formula One? Never went to Alfa Romeo. Gave them a hand. I mean, a little bit later on in his career, but...
P7 in the standings out of 13 teams. I'm pretty sure they could have finished much higher, but there's only so much you can do when you have 18 reliability-related DNFs. 1994 marked the return of Mercedes to Formula 1, powering the Sauber team, and they got off to an okay start. Performance seemed to be similar to the previous season, but so did reliability. After only 3 events, main driver Wendlinger suffered a serious head injury in Monaco that ended up with Andrea De Cesaris taking his seat for the following events, and JJ Leto for the final 2 races. This instability made Mercedes want to join a bigger team,
around the block
and they
Sauber,
opted to accept McLaren's offer. For the 95 season, Red Bull entered Formula
Sauber.
1 for the first time,
Yeah, they were linked
sponsoring
to,
Sauber
they
with a
they were with Red Bull. How have Sauber come to this? How have Sauber come to be like such an ebb and flow midfield team that like drops to the bottom occasionally? They were with Mercedes at the start, and they were with Red Bull after that. Red Bull Sauber. Oh my goodness me. If you're Sauber, you're just kicking yourself, right? You're like, how have the 2 most dominant teams in the last like 12 years or whatever it's been? No, more than that, right? When did, like, 14 years? So we had Vettel, then we've had the Mercedes era. Now we've got a couple of Verstappen years. Like, it's been so long for Red Bull and Mercedes, and they both started off with Sauber. They both started off in Formula 1 linked to Sauber. That is crazy. Oh no, well, Mercedes were around before that, but like they came back into Formula 1. They came back into Formula 1 with Sauber, I should say.
Year deal, along with Petronas. This was a nice change in pace compared to the previous seasons where they had little backing from anyone apart from Mercedes. Coming into their 3rd season, they had solid future stability and were powered by Ford. Heinz-Harald Frentzen had a great season, scoring the team's first podium and 15 out of Sauber's 18 points. A switch to Cosworth engines for 1996 proved to be the wrong move, and got a deal to have Ferrari power from 1997. This was intended as an interim measure, looking to working with Petronas to construct their own engine. A plan that a major economic crash in Asia, and Petronas being a Malaysian company, fell through. They would therefore extend their contract with Ferrari and manufacture their own gearboxes while buying every Ferrari part allowed under the regulations. In 2001, Sauber made a young rookie debut in Formula 1. This was Kimi Raikkonen,
There he is,
who
our boy.
on just his 2nd day of testing lapped half a second.
That was why, as we were talking about Kimi Raikkonen, I was thinking about this. I was like, oh, I remember like a young Kimi. He was only there for a year, wasn't he? I think he was only in the Red Bull Sauber team for a year. And then he went straight into the McLaren team. Because it was Mika Hakkinen who was like, if you want someone quick, you need a Finn. And then McLaren were like, there's one. There's one over there. He looks good. Get him in. And then he came second a couple of years. Oh, Kimi Raikkonen was so good, man. He was so good.
Quicker than regular driver Pedro Diniz. He, along with his teammate Nick Heidfeld, helped Sauber to their best ever result to date in the championship, 4th place. Right after that, Kimi was snatched by McLaren, and in came Felipe Massa, who was later also snatched, this time by Ferrari. This was the start of what became a regular occurrence in the team, giving a seat on the grid to talented rookies like they did with Leclerc, Kubica, Perez, Hülkenberg and more. In 2004, they built their own wind tunnel, and this was a big deal. They were, and still are, only one of a handful of teams to have one. This attracted the attention of BMW, who was at the time an engine supplier for Williams. They had been in talks to take over the team, but owner Frank wasn't keen on the idea. They wanted to remain as customers, not constructors. BMW wasn't satisfied and wanted to cannonball into the oily and rubbery Formula 1 pool. Therefore, they left their partnership collapse with Williams, opting to take over Sauber. By this time, the link between the Swiss outfit and Ferrari was quite thin. This was demonstrated by the fact that for 2005 they ran with Michelin tires, opposite to all other Ferrari teams who ran Bridgestones due to the partnership they shared.
Oh, man, yeah, remember back in the day, you could pick your tyre brand as well. Oh, Formula 1 was so different, man. Formula 1 was... yeah, old liveries were so much nicer. I think it's the simplicity of the older liveries as well. A lot of liveries now are like very complicated because obviously they've got better technology and are able to print like more complex things. But back in the day, the liveries were pretty, very pretty indeed. Kimmy's smiling, yeah. Kimmy's smiling is a rare sight, but it was young Kimmy. He was young. He wasn't broken by the Formula 1 grid yet. He didn't understand.
5, a majority stake of the Sauber team was sold to BMW, with Peter Sauber only retaining 20%. This meant a rebrand to BMW Sauber. The first half of the 2006 season was looking promising. The team had already bagged a number of point finishes and the constant aero development was showing a real appetite for victory. Tensions were high with driver Villeneuve, and since reserve driver Kubica did such a good job subbing for him, he got to drive for the remainder of the season. The team managed to finish 5th in the championship, crucially ahead of their closest rivals Toyota. 2007 was a better...
That's what I mean, like 4th, 5th in the championship, like never quite top 3, never quite at that like upper echelon of Formula 1, even with the drivers that they had. Like we've already seen 4 or 5 incredible drivers at Sauber, and he mentioned even more so, and yet they never quite broken into that top 3. Never quite. 4th, 5th, 6th, you know. Like they've had seasons as well. They've been like 9th, 10th, don't get me wrong. But like they've been so close a couple of times.
Better year. With a great aero package and a solid lineup of drivers, their only setback was reliability on both the power unit and the gearbox. They were in a no man's land when it came to the standings, with McLaren and Ferrari way ahead but clear of the midfield. They got their maiden podium of the season at the Canadian Grand Prix after Kubica's nasty crash, and the race after that, filling in for the pole, Sebastian Vettel made his Formula 1 debut. They finished 2007 with 101 points, 50 clear of Renault but 65 behind McLaren, although these were disqualified due to the Spygate scandal, so BMW were bumped up to runner-ups, 2nd place in the standings. The 2008 season was the best in Sauber's history, both drivers starting in the top 5 on the first event. At Malaysia, Kubica finished 2nd after climbing from 6th at the start. A pole position yielded a 3rd place the following race, and after a 2nd place in Monaco, Robert had a redemptive weekend at Canada, taking his and BMW Sauber's first win and won too. It was around this point though that the executives decided to lift off the throttle, to stop development of the 2008 car, to focus their efforts on the 2009 regulation change. This was not a popular decision within the team, and to this day Kubica says this was the decision that cost him the championship. A string of decent results would follow, but they were no match for Ferrari and McLaren, and apart from a late podium appearance, they would struggle to finish on the points for the last few races.
So close, man. I feel like that was their point, right? Robert Kubica absolutely flying. Yeah, Robert Kubica was just ridiculous, wasn't he? In this Sauber era as well. As I said, it's like when I first got into Formula 1. I think this might have been the first season I've watched all the way through, like the 2008 season. It was the first season I watched like the entirety of. And yeah, now it's ringing memories back now of Robert Kubica just absolutely flying and just not quite being there. Oh, Sauber. I really hope that Sauber are better under Audi. This just reminds me of how many drivers they had. Like Kimi, Vettel, we just saw. I forgot Vettel was in BMW Sauber because like you just think of him in a Red Bull, right? You just think of Vettel straight away. When I picture Sebastian Vettel, I picture him in a Red Bull car. But it was there. BMW Sauber, of course.
Their next car was supposed to be a rocket, but ended up being a hot air balloon, rising slowly while overheating. They had only one podium finish, and that was pretty much it. After 9 appalling races with only 2-point finishes, BMW called a press conference and called it quits at the end of the season. The entry list for 2010, with the new teams coming in due to the budget cap introduced,
the
meant that the
finances
grid
to be on
was
their own,
full,
do they?
and it looked like Sauber were not going to race. In
to
late
like help.
2009, Peter Sauber reacquired the team and was hinging on another team dropping their efforts for the 2010 campaign to be able to show up. Lucky for him, Toyota's sudden announcement secured a spot on the grid for the now again Swiss team.
Toro Rosso,
Although
yeah,
they
that's
would be
true.
running Ferrari engines, the BMW name stuck for another season, due to Peter Sauber not yet applying for a name change with everything happening so suddenly. The only thing that was BMW about the car was the 3 letters on the inscription, because the chassis was Sauber, the color scheme was Sauber, the engine was Ferrari, and the employees were Sauber. The 2010 and 2011 seasons were just trying to hang on and get it together after the reacquisition, with no outstanding results, and in 2012 they regained their momentum. A decent season with 3 podiums by Checo Perez and 1 by Kobayashi was the high point,
Kamui
and then
Kobayashi!
the decline would restart.
Sauber
The
was
2014
so
regulation
good, man.
change meant that Ferrari engines were pretty much the worst of the grid. They dropped from 7th with 57 points to 10th with 0. This was the first time they hadn't scored, even with the new point system. 2015 was marginally better, but another 2 last place finishes in 2016 and 2017 made them desperate for money. An uptick in
Alfa
performance
Romeo.
was very welcome, with a very capable Leclerc making his
Kimi
Formula
and
1 debut
Gio.
in 2018,
And
and a buyout
Leclerc.
by Ferrari family member Alfa Romeo was very promising. Unfortunately, this didn't pan out. From 2019 to 2021, they ran Raikkonen and Giovinazzi, and the results were bad. They finished 2021 in 9th place. Alfa Romeo Sauber has been a backmarker since its inception, with the exception of early 2022, where Bottas could take full advantage of the well-developed car, while Zhou was still getting used to it. They scored 4 points in the last 13 races, but still, in the end they managed to miraculously hold on to 6 in the standings, with Aston Martin equal in points.
Yeah.
For the first time in many years,
That's 6th
I
in the
actually
standings, though. I feel like that Alfa Romeo 6th in the standings. Like, when you look back at it, obviously, they're going to look 6th. They were not 6th fastest this season, were they? They just were not 6th in terms of the classification. They were maybe for like the first 5 races, and then it all fell off a cliff. But I feel like they just got lucky because like Aston Martin took a little while to really click into gear, because we had the top 3 so dominant in the points that took like the top 6 points finishes. And then you're only looking at like 3, 4, 5 points per team over the course of a weekend, even if they get both of their drivers into the points. Like, they got so lucky to get that 6th, in my opinion. So lucky.
feel good about Sauber's future. With quick driver and a very talented rookie, this was a great season for the team, reliability aside. And with the recent announcement that Alfa are leaving, making way for Audi in the near future, I can only hope this time it will be a fruitful acquisition. Andreas Seidel moving from McLaren was a shock, and one that I think will work well. He led the Porsche WEC project to insane success, and seemed to be on the path towards the same over at McLaren. I just hope they do well together, and that Audi can step to the top of the Formula 1 podium. What do you think will be of Audi Sauber? Leave your answers in the comments down below.
Ooh.
So, this was it for
What do we think of Audi Sauber? Do you reckon that... I reckon they'll be competitive, but I think it will take a little bit longer than they think. I think it will be a little bit like Aston Martin to begin with. I don't think they'll have as many ups and downs as Aston Martin have had recently, but I think it will take them a little bit to like click into gear. Although they've already started. They've already started, right? They've already got Seidel in. They've already got some engineers from big teams as well. I think even a couple of the Aston Martin boys, or was it a couple of the Alpine boys? There was like a couple of big name moves, as well as Andreas Seidel, obviously, over to like the Audi side of things at Sauber. I think they're going to come in. They're going to make a big move for like a top spot in the grid. Whether it will come off, we'll kind of have to wait and see. But I feel like it's definitely on the cards that Audi could do exceptionally well. I love this video. I just realized I haven't subscribed to him on this second account, because I use a different account for Formula 1, like the actual videos and then the videos that I watch, but I don't really know why. But we're double subscribed. We're double subscribed. What do we think? What do we think for Audi Formula 1? What was the question? we've. What was the question?
Insane success and seem to be on the path towards the same over at McLaren. I just hope they do well together and that Audi can step to the top of the Formula 1 podium. What do you think will be of Audi Sauber?
What are your thoughts on Audi Sauber? Where do we think? So Audi Sauber in their first season. Okay, let's do a little poll. Audi first season. Okay, where do we think they are going to come in the standings? Do you reckon they come top 3? Do you reckon they come 4 to 6? 7 to 9? So they're still in the mix for points and so on, or just dead last. What do you reckon? I'll add a little poll into the chat. What do you reckon? Audi's first season in Formula 1, top 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, or stone dead last? Where do you think they can jump into? So you got to think, if they're coming into the top 3, obviously it might change around a little bit in the next few seasons. But if they're in the top 3, we're kind of thinking that they're replacing a Red Bull, a Mercedes, or a Ferrari, which is going to be tough. Okay. If we're thinking 4 to 6, that means they're probably displacing McLaren at this point. Maybe an Aston Martin, maybe an Alpine, but I feel like Aston Martin and Alpine look pretty good, to be honest with you. And then if they're, coming 7th, 8th, 9th, they're kind of coming where I'd expect Alfa Romeo to come anyway. Battling with the AlphaTauris, Hasses this season, obviously. I kind of feel 7th, their first season in Formula 1. But yeah, I feel like it could escalate quite quickly. I feel like they could find their feet and really push on. If they come 4 to 6, that means that they're displacing McLaren, and I really don't like the sounds of that, but I feel like it could happen. You know what I mean? They come in their first year, they probably bring in a couple of drivers as well. I feel like Bottas is like a coin flip as to whether he stays for me. Depends on how good he is for the next couple of seasons. He really needs to show that he is top quality. Or they replace an Alpine. But I feel like Alpine have kind of got it going on. Alpine are kind of in a good swing of things right now. What are you guys thinking? Can I pop this out? No. Can I pop this out? I can. So this is what you guys are thinking so far. Oh, that didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. Maybe we won't do that. We'll keep the chat where it was. So you've got 67% of you think 4 to 6. And then 33% of you 7 to 9. Not sure about Alpine. I just feel like Alpine have got the best. I feel like of those 3, Aston Martin, McLaren, Alpine have got the best car, but they've maybe got the worst reliability. So it's how you kind of feel about those two things coming together, right? I feel like, what have we said? Audi will be in the mix for the 4th to 6th to start with, is what we've gone for. And then hopefully for Sauber, they find a way. Loved that video though, gotta say. I would quite like Sauber to do well. I've forgotten how long Sauber were in Formula 1 for. Well, I didn't know how long Sauber were in Formula 1 for. I thought they were in Formula 1 from the mid 2000s. I thought BMW Sauber was the start, but yeah, Red Bull Sauber. I'd kind of forgotten about that season with Kimi. Mercedes Sauber. That is mad, isn't it? The fact that they were with Mercedes, they were with Red Bull, and those two have just kicked on BMW as well. BMW, a huge German manufacturer. That's the only problem as well. Like, well, BMW, they showed with a big German backer, they were getting there. They were getting towards the top. Finished that second place. Could have maybe won a championship with Kubica. They bottled it. And then Ross Brawn came along and was like, I'm going to make Brawn. Great name, mate. How'd you come up with that one? I love that, though. That Formula One just has this kind of like ethos of, I've come up with a team. Oh, really? What's your name? Frank Williams. What are you calling the team? Williams. Hi, I've come up with a team. Hi, what's your name? Ross Brawn. What's your team name? Brawn. Excellent. Perfect. In you come. Oh, you've also come up with a Formula One team. What's your name? Oh, Eddie Jordan. What's your Formula One team called? Jordan. Like, they really don't. They really don't come much simpler than that, do they? Much simpler than that. Busy defrosting my freezer. That is... is that a thing? I have never defrosted my freezer. Should I do that? Is this life advice? Is this like adult advice that I don't know? Is this like something that I should be doing? Like bleeding radiators and things? Like, oh, have you defrosted your freezer? You're supposed to do that once every 3 years or it'll set on fire. Oh, good. They didn't tell me that ever when they installed this freezer into my house. Maybe that would have been a good thing to like knock on the door with, you know what I mean? Like, by the way, if you could defrost it every 3 years, otherwise it will fall apart and crumple. Yeah. Like they said that about, I got a very deep tangent. I got a washing machine, right? And at no point when they installed the washing machine or anywhere in the instructions, because I read the instructions, I'm a stickler for instructions, like an instruction manual, at no point did it tell me anywhere how to actually like work it. You know what I mean? I still am not sure I'm using my washing machine the correct way. And every single time I put it on, I feel like it's going to break. Even though I've read the entire instruction manual. I feel like that is just another adult thing that I just don't quite have in the armory. I don't quite have there for me. You know what I mean? Anyway, should we move on to the main segment of the show? So, as it says in the title, and as says on the thumbnail, we should probably do my 2022 awards. Now, I have broken this down into a few different categories. We're going to have a little chat about all of them over the course of it. If you want to see them, here they are. So we've got Bahrain. No, we've got the best quali stream of the year. We've got our best race stream of the year. And you guys are going to decide on the winner for each of these categories. So the way it's going to kind of work is for our 2022 season awards, you guys are going to have all the power here. I've come up with my 4 favorites for each category. And you guys are going to get to vote in a poll, give your opinion, and decide on which one of these wins each award as we go along. Okay, so best quali stream, best race stream, best stream in general outside of racing. It's the Drive to Survive watch along, bit of fixing the Formula One game. My best collab of the year, and your favorite collab that I've done. Biggest fail, I could only think of 2. I was going to think of 4. I'll probably get some more as we go along. Strangest video, worst clickbait, and then finally the best video of the year. And we're going to go through and kind of see our highlights from the 2022 season together. Okay. So starting off with the best quali stream. Let me get the 4 prepared for us. Of course, qualifying, it's all about the drama in qualifying, really, because we know that it doesn't have too much of an effect on the race. Even if you're Max Verstappen, you can start in 20th place and still win the Grand Prix. We still... Even if you have a bad qualifying, expect the top 6 to be the top 6. We expect a couple of Alpines, maybe a McLaren in the points, and then somebody else. Doesn't really matter a lot of the time with qualifying. So what we want from qualifying is some drama, some anticipation that maybe something could happen. There's a little bit untoward and we maybe weren't 100% expecting going into the weekend to at least give us just a hope that something fun is going to happen, okay? I feel like Bahrain was that to begin with. Bahrain, coming into the season, obviously we just have the testing. We kind of knew a little bit of where everybody was going to be on the grid. But Bahrain, for me, in terms of qualifying, was such a fun stream. It was such a fun stream. Basically the top 9. Yeah, you know the top 9, okay? Let's not all lie to ourselves. Going into a Formula 1 stream, we know the top 9. We know the top 9 every single time. Like, that is basically how it goes. And then it's like maybe an Aston Martin in the points, or a Valtteri Bottas. Someone along those lines. Comes in, picks up a point. We're like, lovely job. Well played, mate. But Bahrain was that for me. By the way, can we appreciate how weird the streams used to look? So let's let's have a little look. This was Bahrain back in the day. Look at me. Bahrain. Terrible haircut. Was growing my hair for charity. First things first. Let's not get that mixed up. Secondly, I'm sitting at my girlfriend at the time's desk because basically I couldn't live stream from my desk so I didn't have enough space for like 2 monitors, which I needed for the live stream. So I was just randomly using her desk occasionally to live stream, which meant that I ran a HDMI cable from the desk that I'm sitting at here through to like another room. Oh, we've got... Let's not get Saudi already, shall we? That's paused. Cool. I had to run a HDMI cable from this computer here, where... I swear I just... Also, the intro music was terrible. How did you guys let me get away with that intro music for so long? Horrible. I had to run a HDMI cable from here. I'm going to get to this story. From here, all the way through to like a completely different part of the room, round about 5 meters of wall. I had to go and buy a HDMI cable. It was 8 meters long to do this. And I had to plug it in every single weekend because I had to unplug it because my girlfriend at the time had to use her desk for like work and actual stuff, right? So I had to put up the qualifying setup, take it all down, then put it back up for the races again. This was commitment early on in the season in Bahrain. It was a heavy, heavy commitment to the stream. Also, I look very orange. For the hair for charity, it was very long at this point. Don't know if there's a time when I turn my head enough to see it. Probably not. But Bahrain was fun. Bahrain was a good stream, wasn't it? Should we listen to a little bit of it? Here we go. We're underway. Green light. I'll pop up the little quali time. Oh, God. For us to... Oh, God. It can't be Bahrain, can it? Just for the quality of the stream. Look at it, just falling apart. Sorry, mate. Is that 580p? No. I don't know what that means. Because 1080p is good. So 580p, 720p. What's the other ones? Is that 144p? £1.44 you've got yourself there? Absolute shambles. Should we see who did well? Oh yeah, this was when I also was trying to do the thing where I was like manually putting in each of the qualies. You loved the intro tune, really? I don't know if maybe it will come back. It's in the background there. Obviously, we know Leclerc got pole. I'd actually like to remember. So what was it? Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Perez. Okay, fair enough. Hamilton, top 5. Bottas, Magnussen, Alonso, Russell, Gasly. This was such a fire qualifying. This was such a qualifying. Like, so good. Bahrain is there. Was your sponsor Chevron? No, I just love that. That is still there. That is still there. We painted that particularly for the stream. I'm telling you, I was committed to this. I was like, okay, we are going to do 2022 right. We are going to stream every single race. We are going to love every single minute. And we're going to have this whole setup. Oh my God, you can see in the background. I didn't even realize this. Maybe I didn't realize this at the time. Or maybe I just forgotten. This is all of my girlfriend's work. just some folders in the background there. Also, I'm not like sitting anywhere near the center because I didn't know how to change the camera view from when I had like the chat up versus when I had this up. Ah, the times to be alive. Because it kind of looks fine when I'm like this, right? I'm a little bit to the right, but apart from that, I'm okay. When I have this up, it looks fine. When I have this up, it just looks like I'm sitting silly. Unfortunately, didn't find the channel until the second race of the season. Mate, you missed a banger. Look at this. Latifi last, of course. Ricardo. 18th Ricardo. Bahrain. Well, on Saudi, I reckon Saudi was also a banger of a qualifying. Do you know why? Do you know why? Should we skip forward a little? What am I wearing this time around? Jumper of some kind? Look at that jumper. Ooh. look at this Drivers' Championship like it means anything. Wow. Leclerc, 26 points, you say? 26 points. Joe won. Joe was in 10th. Joe was in top half. Top half. Making jokes about Bottas out-qualifying Russell. Bottas was banging, man. Bottas was banging. First half of the season. First, like, 5 races. Bottas was on it. Wait, do I not have a... Oh, did I get lazy and not do it? No, I did. It's here. Hamilton 16th. That was the big one. I feel like this was one of my favorite streams just because when Hamilton got 16th, I just remember like a flood of people coming into the stream and assuming that, again, like for some reason I was illegally showing the qualifying and they wanted to just see like Hamilton crying. They were just like, show Hamilton, what's Hamilton doing? And I was like, I don't know. He's come 16th and he's gone home probably. He's a multi-millionaire. He's a Formula 1 driver. But this was fun. Hamilton 16th was a good quali session. That was a good quali session. Red Bull went from 10th to 1st. Yeah, they went from 10th to 1st real quick too. Where's the final standings? This was Perez, yeah. Perez's first quali pole. Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Russell still in the mix there. Hamilton, somebody in 10th. Who's that going to be? Joe. Joe in 10th. No, Joe's there. Who was in 10th? Probably putting it in as we speak. Who am I missing? K-Mag. Oh, it's because I put Gasly. Wrong place. Both McLaren's out, though. That does take away a little bit from Saudi. Does take a little bit from Saudi. Saudi, though, was fun because Hamilton. Because Hamilton, it was so fun. Bahrain was fun because, like, we didn't really know what was going to happen. Saudi was fun because we also didn't know what was going to happen. And then Hamilton had that shocker of a drive. Here we go. Austria, moving forward a little bit. We're back on the desk. Back on the desk. Football shirts in the background. Like I'm a football podcast. That was always interesting. People always used to comment on the football shirts, but also it was very confusing, right? I'm here making Formula 1 content all of the time. Here's a Norwich shirt. But there we are. There we are. What's happening? Stroll and Vettel are gone. Sadly, Vettel. Bad streak in quali this season. I mean, that was just the Aston Martin for the first half of the year, really, wasn't it? Spain was when they brought the upgrades, but it wasn't until after the summer break they actually started working. So, Lewis Hamilton was P16. Yeah, it was so mad. Because he's fed. Here we go, Austria. Look at this shirt. This shirt that everyone thinks is a Mercedes shirt, which, to be fair, it is Mercedes colours and also looks very much like a Mercedes shirt. But I can promise you it's a McLaren shirt. It's just a McLaren shirt from a few years ago when they still had a silver livery. I think this was when I got a little bit lazy. Didn't do the standings on this one by the looks of things. Austria was fun though, because Sergio Perez, we had all the like, he went over the line. Oh my God, Sergio Perez broke track limits, but the FIA forgot to check. And then he was in Q3. He was out of Q3. He was in Q3. He was out of Q3. It was very good. I very much enjoyed the Sergio Perez drama that ensued during the Austrian Grand Prix. And then, of course, I feel like what will be the winner, what might be the winner. We have Brazil. Did I still have long hair in Brazil? I feel like maybe I didn't. Oh no, I didn't have long hair in Austria. Did I have longer hair here? I'm lost. I'm confused. I'm dazed and confused. Why is this not loading now? Come on. Do a thing.
I've got an opportunity in the first 6 races of this season. I'm going to take it. Yeah, he finished in 5th place at one point, Valtteri.
still mesmerised by Valtteri Bottas's performances. We're literally, Max Verstappen is the champion. We're talking about Valtteri Bottas in 10th. That's how much I was bamboozled by Valtteri Bottas this season. Valtteri Bottas in 10th is all we're chatting about. Bottas, like, he properly jumped up there. I think that's probably the most surprising one. The fact that... Also, though, we have to try and find K-Mag if we can. F1 is amazing. Amazing. Paddy, Formula 1 surprises me. Shouldn't be surprised at this point. Formula 1 always delivers. Brazil always delivers. I don't say these things in vain. Said it last year, it delivered. Said it this year, it delivered. And I'll say it in 2023, Brazil always delivers. I'm committed. You have to give me that if I'm nothing but committed. Brazil was phenomenal. Phenomenale. Just the whole weekend, including quali. Meaning the intermediate tyres on Sergio Perez's car, and the Mexican is going to have a go. Oh yeah, it was because of the rain, and then Sergio Perez came out. But we're gonna have to watch the final 5 minutes of this session. Charles Leclerc not even in the car. Charles Leclerc walks over to the pit wall, asks, "This is it. What happened, guys? What?" I don't feel like Kevin Magnussen is going to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Maybe the sprint. Big prediction. Big prediction there. I don't feel like Kevin Magnussen is going to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Oh my goodness. It's done, right? It's done. Even Kevin Magnussen knows. He knows. 139 race starts for Kevin Magnussen. And look at him. Look at him. He is elated. He loves it. He's going to go home with a little Pirelli tyre. He is going to go home with a little Pirelli tyre. Kevin Magnussen went home with a little Pirelli tyre that day. He did go home with a little Pirelli tyre that day. And it was a very, very enjoyable. I love that. I love that. Qualifying. Quali. What was your best quali of the year? As I said, you guys get to decide which one wins. Bahrain was so good, though. Bahrain was fun because Bahrain, you obviously got that kind of build-up. We didn't know what was going on. Saudi, the Hamilton stuff, the craziness, Max Verstappen versus Leclerc, who was going to come out on top. Then Sergio Perez, bang, got in there. Austria, again, was Sergio Perez. Like, he was in quali, he was out of quali. He was in quali, he was out of quali. And then, of course, Brazil. Brazil. Do I need to say more about Brazil? Kevin Magnussen with the pole position. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. What are we feeling? What are we feeling? What are the votes in? Straight away. 2 votes straight away. Brazil. Bang. Easy Brazil picks. I think everyone's gone Brazil. Everyone's gone Brazil. It really is like, it's just one of those things, wasn't it? It was just one of those things. Kevin Magnussen on pole. Gunther Steiner. It was just so fun. It was so fun. And it was one of the only qualifyings that really like threw up a completely different turn of events. And it was mad because Charles Leclerc was on the intermediate tyres. Yeah, Brazil was just goated. Brazil was so goated as a qualifying session. Shall we just put the emoji in? I was going to put like a little... Is there a little trophy? There he is. Brazil. Best qualifying of the year. Best quali stream of the year. And it was towards the end of the year, so the stream just didn't look like terrible, and it wasn't at a desk that was filled with work from a school I don't work at. It was interesting. It was an interesting time. Interesting time early in the year. We were trying things. We were developing. We were trying to understand ourselves. We didn't really know what the year held. And yet, 2022 has delivered. And we've got ourselves the best quali in Brazil. Great choice, lads. Great choice in terms of Brazil. Was like a close second. Bahrain. Bahrain was fun. It wasn't in Ohio. Or here. All right, should we move on to best race of the year? What was the best race of the year? In terms of the stream as well, remember, we have to say. So it's not just, best race in terms of race, although it probably is going to end up being that, isn't it? But it's also best race in terms of the stream. Like, which stream was best? The best race stream of the year. It was fun. It was a fun time we had. A little bit of a race stream. Here are my 4 candidates for you. The UK, Silverstone, was a great race. Possibly the greatest race of the year. Brazil again, because Brazil. Japan, not because of the race itself, although the race was very, very fun, but it was a very, very fun stream. Because we had the rain delay and we had to find stuff to do. So we just had a little bit of chat. Again, I just love having a little bit of chat. We had to find stuff to fill the time gap whilst the rain was just pouring down in Japan. So I put Japan in there because it was a fun stream. And Austin as well. Austin, for me, was one of the better races of the year. There was that Verstappen-Hamilton collision. There was a little bit of Carlos Sainz, George Russell at the beginning. It was all a little bit too much fun, wasn't it? Wow, this stream was long. Oh, yeah, it was the delay at the start, wasn't it? For the George Russell crash. Should we try and find the beginning of the race? Why am I wearing a Spain shirt? This is always the interesting parts of the stream, isn't it? Why is James wearing that, of all things? Look at that Spain shirt. Hasn't done his hair. Look at him. Invest in the channel very, very soon. Effectively, that video paid for me to get F1 22 because I was going to wait a couple of weeks to... It's true. I think this is the Stroll video that we'll get to. The Stroll video did indeed. Hate drone cam. Love your content. Look at these. Because it all means absolutely nothing right now. I really hope that Joe is okay. That was the main thing. I really, really hope that Joe is okay. He's had such an incredible last couple of races as Joe. I do love Joe. There is something about Joe. I don't really know what it is, but I do just absolutely love Joe. British Grand Prix, though, we'll say. Top 4 races, I reckon. Worth a fight. We had George Russell winning this one. With George Russell winning the Brazilian Grand Prix, which was a little bit of a madness. Final lap of the Grand Prix. George Russell coming around and looking at his first win in Formula 1. Oh, look, we have the shelves then. Am I Christmas Leclerc on the radio? Please think about the championship, pleading with Carlos Sainz to give him the position. We had the Verstappen radio message. We had the Leclerc radio message. Like, Leclerc was, like, asking Carlos Sainz for that podium. That was never, ever going to happen, was it? Fernando Alonso in 5th place. Verstappen all the way down here in 6th. Get wrecked, son. Sergio Perez asking Verstappen, please, Max, please. I helped you so much in Abu Dhabi last year. Let me through. Absolutely not. Spain shirt is elite. Spain shirt was good. I did enjoy. I do still have that Spain shirt. It's a very, very good Spain shirt. It's just a bit of an odd one to have on. Although, I know I remember why I had it on. I had it on because Carlos Sainz got his first pole, and then he obviously went on to win the race, didn't he? That's why I had the Spain shirt on. Had the Spain shirt on for Carlos. Did not have the Mercedes shirt on for George Russell, but there we are. Brazil, so good. Brazil, absolutely goated. Leclerc. Believe it's too risky. Charles Leclerc
very upset with that.
Yeah, Ferrari really did throw Leclerc. I know Leclerc came second in the championship anyway, but like, do you reckon if Carlos would have given Leclerc third, then Red Bull would have been? Well, I don't know. Red Bull were quite pushy to Verstappen. Verstappen was just a little baby about it, wasn't he? For the Brazilian Grand Prix. Austin. I've gone for Austin as one of my favorite Grand Prix of the year. And one of my favorite streams. I feel like Austin was a very, very fun stream. I was going to try and find the start where we had George Russell and Sainz. Hey.
Carlos Sainz is out of the Grand Prix. No. I thought he'd at least get an opportunity to battle back up, but that's it. Carlos Sainz done and dusted for this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that was gutting. I really did think Carlos Sainz was going to be able to kind of work his way back up. Even with that crash right at the beginning. Thought it was going to maybe he'd be able to work his way back up. Maybe a podium. Maybe a podium for Carlos Sainz. Oh, then I've got the Brazil Grand Prix again. Oops. Well, you know that that's supposed to be Japan. And Japan doesn't really have any particular race highlight that I want to talk about. It's more so that Japan was just a really fun stream because it was so long and because there was so much rain. But you guys get to decide your race stream of the season. What are we feeling? What are we believing in? So we've got UK. We've got Japan. We've got the US. And again, Brazil. What are we feeling? Best race of the season. Best race stream of the season. I feel like we should always say that. Although best race stream, like the stream and the actual race itself kind of do go hand in hand, don't they? It's quite nice for them two to kind of work together and go hand in hand a lot of the time. But I'll leave you guys to it. Whilst we prepare for the best non-race stream. The best non-race stream. We've got 4 candidates for the best non-race stream. I'm hearing. Oh, it's 50-50. Japan and the US. Okay. Not what I was thinking. Not what I was thinking. But interesting. Let me load these up. Our next candidates. If we had 23 races at Brazil, I wouldn't complain. You know what? I probably wouldn't either. It's just a really, really good track. Like every single year. It's just a very, very good track. Now I'm able to get Formula 1 TV here. I don't follow your Formula 1 streams. No, that's fair enough. That is absolutely fair enough. Well, don't vote in the poll then. You know, don't vote in that poll. We'll get you a different poll for later on. All right, best race stream has gone to the US Grand Prix. Okay. I really wasn't expecting that. I really was not expecting. But it kind of makes sense at the same time. The US Grand Prix was a very good race. And it was also a fun stream. Can you tell the background music's back? It was a fun stream. I think the US might take it. Favorite circuit? To drive or to watch? I feel like they're very slightly separate questions for me. All right. I'm going to end it there. You've had your 2 minutes. The US wins the race stream of the season. Wow. Bit of a shock one there for me. Bit of a shock one. I didn't vote. I was joking. Of course you can vote. Of course you can vote. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Best quality stream, Brazil. Best race stream. Where is that coming from? Hey. So, best non-race / quali stream. Best non-race quali stream. We've got 4. We've got 4. Many, many more to come this year, though. Many, many more. There were a few more than this, obviously. But these were the 4 that kind of stood out to me a little bit. If we have time, let's watch the Formula 1 awards. Okay, yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. If we have a little bit of time at the end. Best stream. Non-Formula 1 race / quali. Number 1, the Drive to Survive watch along. We watched the entirety of Drive to Survive from start to finish on the first Friday, I want to say, that it was released. We will be doing the same again. Of course we will. We'll be waiting with bated breath for the Gunther Steiner episode, basically. That's all we watch it for. If you haven't watched the Drive to Survive watch along, it's just me waiting for the Gunther Steiner episode for quite a long time, kind of hoping that the Gunther Steiner episode is coming, and then it comes, and then going back to kind of just talking about Gunther Steiner for quite a long time, if I'm honest. That's kind of the way that I went with Drive to Survive. There's fixing the Formula 1 game. This was one of my favorite streams. So the Formula 1 game F1 2022 was released. They obviously give a rating to each of the drivers, along with kind of a breakdown of their pace and their reliability and blah, 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 blah. And we went through and we fixed them for the game. We went through and we were like, don't worry, lads. You guys don't really know that much about Formula 1. And you've got your ratings a little bit wrong. So we came in and we were like, don't worry. We'll fix that for you. We did it all together, and it was actually very, very fun. We have the Piastri to Alpine. Not really, which is when I streamed. I did a live stream saying that Piastri had been confirmed to Alpine. And then I did another live stream an hour later saying that Oscar Piastri was not confirmed to Alpine. That was a crazy day for Formula 1 and for the Formula 1 news. And then finally, last but most certainly not least, the one that we did right at the end of 2022, the Lego McLaren build. It will sit above us like a halo of this channel. But it was exceptionally fun. So let's have a little look. Drive to Survive. There's not too much to say here, is there? It was Drive to Survive. We watched it together. Like a lovely family dinner. Oh, we were still over there. Wow, okay. Oh, yeah, because Drive to Survive was before the season. Of course we were still over there. Episode 3, 15 minutes in. What's happening? Nothing. Still nothing. Wow.
So close to the walls, man. It gets me every time I see, like, I just feel like they're going to hit it. I know Lewis Hamilton doesn't hit the wall there. I watched the race.
I don't even know what he's on about. What could that be? Monaco? Maybe? So close to the wall. When was Lewis Hamilton very close to a wall? Which episode was the Gunther Steiner episode? Episode 4? Episode 5?
It's Danny Rick who bumps into Gasly, isn't it?
Already slanderous towards Daniel Ricciardo. Love it. I knew what was happening. I knew Danny Rick was gone before the season had even started. I was not happy about Danny Rick. Alpine lied. This is a good one. This is a good one.
Anyone explain to me what is going on in Formula 1 right now? We're live again. And do you know why? Because this situation, which seemed like it had sorted itself out just a few hours ago, I was looking like an idiot earlier on when I was like, oh, Piastri's got to deal with McLaren. Then everyone came on stream, was like, excuse me, he's actually signed with Alpine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there has been another twist in the tale. Let me take...
I love that. I'm an inside knowledge guy. None of you believe me a lot of the time. I feel like I call quite a few things in Formula One, and I called Oscar Piastri to McLaren. I thought there was something a little bit fishy going on. I remember even talking about it. I remember even saying like Oscar Piastri would be a great replacement for Danny Rick if Danny Rick doesn't stay on for another season. And everyone was like, nah, he's going to sign with Alpine, going to sign with Alpine, going to sign with Alpine. Now look.
You back a couple of days, shall we? Shall we go back to Monday when things made no sense, but at least a little more sense than they do now? We had Fernando Alonso, the man who has started all of this. Well, really, Sebastian Vettel has started all of this. So Sebastian Vettel decides to leave Formula One on Thursday last week before the Hungarian Grand Prix. Okay, fine, cool, nailed it, absolutely.
Oh, the tweet.
Into
the tweet.
So everyone is like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense.
No, this is the tweet.
Sign.
Ay caramba. I understand that without my agreement, Alpine Formula One have put out a press release late this afternoon that I'm driving for them next year. This is wrong, and I've not signed a contract with Alpine for 2023. I will not be driving for Alpine next year. Signed, Oscar. And then he just disappeared for like 5 months as well, by the way. I know that Alpine just basically put him in a cupboard under the stairs and were like, no, you're not going to do anything in Formula One for the foreseeable future. But at the same time, like, I feel like we could have heard from him at least once over the course of it. But he just came out, dropped this bombshell, banger, gone. Disappeared into the night. And it was so much fun. It was so... Oscar broke Formula One Twitter. He broke everything. He broke so much of this world that we're living in. It was incredible. Incredible. Wait, I can't... That's annoying. That's annoying. So, the next one, fixing the Formula One 2022 game, isn't there anymore. Why is it not there? Why is it not there? Does anyone know? Do the streams... Oh, it's because YouTube changed their algorithm thing, wasn't it? So they changed it so that live has its own category on your channel. And therefore, I think it's gone. Oh, that is a shame. That was a really good stream, though. If you weren't there for that, what we did, we broke down the Formula One game 2022 regulations. And we broke down the ratings that every team had been given, every driver had been given, and we changed it so that actually it made sense. I remember changing like a lot of the ratings as well. I remember downgrading quite a few drivers. Sorry, Nicholas Latifi. Rest in peace. Final one though. The other week we did a Lego stream because I got this for Christmas, and we built the Lego McLaren car. Look at it. I'm covering it. Look at me putting some stickers on there.
That looks a bit more blue, doesn't
Should we skip to the finale?
Completed. Done. Dusted. Happy bloody New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas to me. What? What? As if we've done it. I'm gonna spin it. Oh, I feel like Jordan Henderson. Champions League.
Imagine if I dropped it then.
There we go.
It was a good stream though.
The one.
Cheeky little stream.
The McLaren.
Cheeky little 10.5-hour stream. Ooh, cheeky little 10.5-hour stream. What a stream though. That was a really fun one. Building the Lego McLaren. If there is ever like another Lego McLaren, I'm definitely doing that again. As much as it was 10.5 hours and it was quite painful, it was also really, really fun. Best stream. Also, actually, this gives me an idea of which stream. Oh wait, I think I just put in yes, best stream, yes, no. Oops. Sorry. Best stream. I'd love to know. And actually, because that'll give me an idea of what kind of streams we can do again. Right. Why is this? Come on. This will give me an idea of what kind of streams you'd like me to do again. Because we can definitely do these kind of streams more. Would you like to see another 10.5-hour stream? I do like a challenge. I will say that. I've thought about quite a few streams where it's like a challenge to do a thing. And like, maybe like spin a wheel. Something like that. Anyway, Drive to Survive. I mean, the Drive to Survive stream is happening, whether you like it or not. Because I just like watching Drive to Survive with you guys. But which was your favorite stream of the year 2022? Was it Drive to Survive, Fixing Formula 1 2022, Piastri, and the madness that ensued, or the Lego McLaren build? Can't wait to watch more long streams. They're coming. They're coming to you. They're coming thick, fast. I think my favourite out of those four might have been Fixing Formula 1, though. I think it was only a couple of hours, but there was lots of debate, and I remember annoying a lot of people. I did spend 10.5 hours live with you and loved it. Well, mate, there's going to be more of that coming this year. Lots more of that coming this year. Especially if I've got a Friday off work. If I've got a Friday off work, doesn't, you know, these streams are probably going to start on a Friday at like 6, 7, 8. If I've got a Friday off work, I'm down for a 24-hour challenge. I'll stream 24 hours. I can do it. I know YouTube has a limit of 12 hours. So it'd have to be 2 12-hour streams. But we could do a 24-hour stream. We can do a 24-hour stream. Being a certain time on every Formula 2022 chat. Writing it down. We're writing it. I talked about post-it notes at the start of the stream. The post-it notes are out. What about like completing a full season on F1 2022 where all of the races are like full length? Would that even be possible? How long would that take? Every race is like 2 hours, isn't it? Nah, that would actually take 44 hours. Maybe if I did every single, maybe if I did a championship where everything was like half. Every race was half length. That could work. Unless we do want to do like a full 48-hour, 2-day stream where it's just me crying. I'm not winning the championship at that point, am I? I'm not winning the championship, but I will put myself through it. Love that, though. We do have our winner. You've had your couple of minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. It is the Lego stream. The most recent. Is that recency bias creeping in? Possibly. I feel like the Piastri drama was fun, but it wasn't very specific to me, right? Everyone did the Piastri stuff, but it was fun. Fixing Formula 1, also fun. Best collab. Should we do best collab or should we do biggest fail? You know what? Let's do bad, good. Bad, good, bad, good. Maybe. These are all bad. I'm self-deprecating, and that's what we need in this. Should we do biggest fail? Because I feel like biggest fail actually doesn't. Like, I'd like to know if you guys have any other biggest fails you could think about. I do have quite a lot of ideas. I do have a lot of ideas when it comes to streams. And for some reason, I was like deciding to do Twitch streams. I started a Pokemon playthrough. I think I did like 4 or 5 weeks. And then I realized that actually to play a 50-hour game in 2-hour chunks takes forever. Right? So like, basically it was just never, ever going to happen. Hello, Raymate. I live, laugh, love Legos. I want you to have a tattoo. Live, laugh, love Lego. That would be sick. That would be so good. That'd be good. I love building Legos, but maybe Drive to Survive would be a bit more interesting. Fair. They're both going to happen. Maybe I'll remake the Lego McLaren without instructions. That would be a long stream. That would be like hundreds of hours long. I don't think you'd want it. But biggest fail. Let's do biggest fail before we do best collab. Biggest fail. Football watch-alongs on Twitch or Pokemon playthrough on Twitch. Both of which lasted maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 at the best. If you didn't even watch them, I completely understand. This was when I decided to like try and do Twitch for a bit. But it's football versus Pokemon as the worst ideas I had this year that just made no sense as well. But which do you think is the worst idea? Would you... Well, we could bring back a little bit of gaming-y stuff to the channel. We could do another Pokemon stream. Well, we can't because my ex-girlfriend took my Switch. Let's not look about it. I will get that tattooed for you. If you do, I will... I don't even know what I could offer you. A lot. I don't really know what we're voting on. The biggest fail. That's what we're voting on. You reckon Pokemon streams were the biggest fail? And you'd quite like a football stream every now and then. Okay. I mean, also, like, the reason that the Pokemon stream stopped is because I broke up with the person I was living with at the time, and it was their Switch. It was their Switch, but my game. And I don't know if you've ever had that moment in your life where this is gonna cut pretty deep, lads. It's gonna cut pretty deep. But I don't know if you've ever had. I think I had like 20 Switch games because we'd had a Switch and we were together for a little while. So I had like Mario Odyssey, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. There was a theme. And the Pokemon games. I had Luigi's Mansion. I had so many games. So many games. For goodness sake. But it was just not having a Switch and having all of those games was frustrating. So I did end up selling them. I sold the games. They're gone. They're gone. No more Switch in my life. But PS5, which is literally right here. And I feel like we should do some PS5 streams at some point. Maybe when a good game drops, you'll have to let me know. We'll do it. Pokemon, though, unanimous. Maybe I'll get another Switch again. But not for the moment. I have a husband. But do you have a Switch? That's the thing. Luigi's Mansion was so... Yeah, I finished all of those games. I should say, like, I finished all the games I owned on Switch. It wasn't like I was, like, holding onto this game, like, 30% of the way through. Like, I wonder how this ends. Is it good? No, I'd finished all the games, luckily. But that is now gone. May my Switch rest in peace. That was taken. Taken like Liam Neeson. Bless him. Anyway, should we move on to the best collab? Best collab of 2022. I only have Just Dance on your Switch. Ah, mate, get some games. You have both. A husband and a Switch. Just showing off. I've got neither of those things. Rattled. Absolutely rattled. Let's move on to best collab. I've done some good collabs this year, if I do say so myself. I've done some good collabs this year. Let's start with CF Racing, because this was the start of something. This was the start of something new. This was the start of something different. This is the first time that I had done a little video with CF. Where even is it? Wait, this is not. Oh, this isn't even the video. This is the wrong link. This is the wrong link. I clicked on the wrong link. Where even was that link? Not sure. I'll get it. You should get a husband. I I don't swing that way, if you catch my drift. But maybe I'll get a husband at some point. Hang on. Let me get the correct links for these videos. Rest in peace, the Switch. I mean, I assume that the Switch still works. I assume the Switch is still out there.
Everybody's a Ferrari fan. Even if they're not, they are a Ferrari fan.
The most exciting. Everyone is a Ferrari fan, especially when Vettel was there. I feel like the Switch is still out there in the world. The Switch is still probably doing Switch things, playing Switch games, all that kind of stuff. Oh God, when was this collab? It was a little while ago. Start of the season, wasn't it? It was about Albon signing for Williams. Like what he was going to achieve. What could he do? What could he be? There it is. $11K views. Me and Tomedy Tom. We're going to start with the Tomo vid instead, because it's the first one I found. Tomedy Tom. Which is what I call him. It's our pet name for one another. Whoa. Overexposed camera a little bit there. Didn't really know how to light things. I'm perfectly honest. But there he is. The boy, the man, the myth, the legend. My favourite Formula 1 YouTuber.
From Williams in 2022.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It is the impossible guess. I mean, everyone who's doing their predictions now is a braver person than I am. But the thing is, obviously, Williams, all the teams have known about the new regs since... I mean, it got announced, mid-2019, and obviously 2019 Williams was an absolute...
What did Tomo think?
One
Williams
of the worst
was gonna
F1
be able
cars
to
of all
do?
time, I think. They've got the facility, they've got the infrastructure at Williams to be successful. They've got the everything's there to be a top team. Obviously, how the car that they develop, you've got to think that there's not really much of an excuse for Williams. You can excuse a lot of other teams; they've had more to fight for in recent years, but Williams have had nothing to fight for. I mean, this year's been half decent, but other than that, they've had absolutely nothing to fight for. And I think they're going to be, I reckon, solid midfield. That's what I'm saying.
Ay caramba! Nah, to be fair, I think everyone thought Williams were going to be a bit better than they were, to be honest with you. And then obviously we talk Albiono.
Latifi and Albon have driven together before in the past in F2, and Albon destroyed Latifi. I expect Alex to do the same, but if he doesn't, I will be very disappointed and I'll call him out because I love him, but I'm not just going to sit by a bit. Like when West Ham gets smashed by Astra Giragu, I'm not going to be like making excuses and, you take it for what it is.
I feel like this was kind of lost in translation, mainly because me and Tomo had like a 20-minute chat before we started recording this, in which we talked about West Ham, and I think they were playing like in the Europa Conference. The Europa League, like that weekend. And we were having a chat about that. I think he maybe thought that was going in, but I had not started the recording yet. But bless him. Tomo, absolute legend. One of my favourite Formula 1 YouTubers, if not my favourite Formula 1 YouTuber outside of... definitely. He's up there. He's done stuff for me. We'll get to.
I think it'll be a great season for Ferrari, and I think they're going to win the Constructors' Championship.
Ooh, CF Racing, that didn't end well. Did I go for the same kind of look on this one? I feel like maybe I did. Just go for a solid back and forth. Oh no, I did. Went for the same style. Me and CF Racing, of course, part of pre-race podcast.
World champion, and Kimi Räikkönen, who'd won a world championship. And then
he looked so
obviously
young,
in
even though this
2017,
was like a year ago.
it was Sebastian Vettel, who's a 4-time world champion. So realistically, if you're looking on past performances, even though I agree with you in that this is an amazing lineup of drivers, it doesn't quite have the same caliber of the drivers in the past. Does that worry you a little bit?
No, not at all. We've seen like Carlos Sainz jump from team to team to team, and even build up team to team. Like
he was so passionate about Ferrari. I put in so many questions because I knew Chris a little bit before we recorded this video, and I put in so many questions that I was hoping were like gonna like maybe challenge him a little bit, or maybe get him to think about Ferrari in any way whatsoever. But he was steadfast that Ferrari were going to win a championship. He was like, nope, Ferrari won. Ferrari going to do it. Ferrari win. Done. Dusted. That is the way we are. Biggest collab probably of the year. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best collab of the year. Here's me on the last lap.
You know, like Brazil was just a joke. Like, you can't push someone that far off and not get penalised for it.
Yeah.
That sets a standard. But yeah, I guess like everyone kind of approaches racing differently. And I think, yeah, like I've been impressed with Max's kind of, he's been much more level this year, I feel.
Do you think it is a maturity thing then? Because you talk about Kimi.
Do you think it's a maturity thing then? I was trying to sound very articulate. And I absolutely loved the last lap, by the way. For you in the channel, it's the last lap. The podcast is my favorite. Well, we'll see. Because like this was big for me. This was big. I remember being absolutely knackered when it came to this collab. So this is obviously the podcast, and we'll get to the stream itself later on. But the podcast I count as like a proper collab, right? Because it's not a live stream. It's like a one-on-one or a 3-on-1 in this case video that we did together. We all kind of sat down. We were all on a level playing field. We were all chatting about Formula 1. But a little insider knowledge for you. At this point here, I'm absolutely knackered. I'm on like 0 sleep. I was so excited to go on the last lap. Like, it was by far and away my favorite thing I've done this year. To kind of give away a little bit of what's coming up. It's my favorite thing that I've done this year by so much. And I was so excited that the night before I did not sleep. I was trying to cram like so much before I went on. And it was like, I really wanted to get all those statistics in my head. I wanted to know like who was in the driver's standings and where. I wanted to know like their average qualifying positions. I wanted to know their average finishing positions. There was so much like stuff that I just wanted to know before I went that I didn't sleep. I just decided to cram like it was an exam of so much statistics. And then when I got there, I was already like really, really tired. We did the stream for the Mexican Grand Prix. And then I didn't realize, but they record the podcast like straight after. I thought maybe like the podcast they would record later on in the week just because the Mexican Grand Prix was such a late race. But they were just like, nah, we're going to just stay. So like if you've got a couple of hours, you can stay and be in the podcast as well. And I'm not going to say no, am I? I'm not going to say no to that. I love that they asked me. They were like, by the way, like if you've got to go, then you got to go. I would have walked home and still been on that podcast. I would have done anything to stay for that podcast. So I was like, yep, I'm staying. I'm staying for another 2 hours. So I am, at this point, absolutely dead. Absolutely dead. It's like 1 a.m. It's like 1 a.m. coming towards the close of this podcast. And there's a point in the podcast, like pretty early on, where like, I'm looking at Cam, one of like the people I've followed on YouTube for so long, like before EXO, I was a big fan of Cam Kirkham when he was like proper on the come up. Niren, who I've watched for forever, obviously This Week in Football is like the football show. A lot of people watch it, me included. And Tomo, just this guy who's the absolute monster of Formula 1 YouTube. He's just like sets the standard for so many different things when it comes to Formula 1 YouTube. I'd say like his streams are so much cleaner than loads of people's. His videos are so perfect, and the way that he puts them together, the pacing that they have. Tomo's like up there for me in terms of the Formula 1 YouTube as well. And I just remember sitting there for a second and just being like in awe of everybody that was there. But then also realizing that I needed to also like take part in this podcast. So I was in awe of these people and sitting there like, how on earth have I got to this point? And then I just remember the three of them like chatting and kind of almost like coming back into the room and being like, I need to say something. I need to say a thing so that I don't just look mental on this podcast. And so I like jumped in just like a random fact. I was just like, Max Verstappen, if he wins 2 more races, then he beats the most races in a season. Just like threw a statistic out there. It's like so much fun. So happy that I did it. And like would go back in a heartbeat. This is kind of what, as much as they've done it now, and like they are the Formula One like stream platform. Like if you want to watch a race, you're probably gonna head over there, and I don't blame you. I absolutely love that some of you guys have stuck with me, and that we get to still watch some races together. But yeah, if I could ever have a setup that was like even half as good as this, it was just so much fun. It was so good. And then last but not least, in terms of best collab, can't go about 2022 without talking about the pre-race podcast. Me and the boys, CF Racing, Cars with Connor, on track. These boys, I just absolutely love them. I love these lads. I'm going to say it. I love them. They're one of my favorite. They are probably my favorite people on YouTube right now. Just love them. Get to chat with them quite often. We haven't chatted in a little while. Haven't done a pre-race pod in a little while. Don't really know how it's going to look for 2023. We haven't sat down and talked about it yet. But the chats that we had, like we used to record a podcast and the podcast would be like 50 minutes. And then we'd chat for like another 4 hours afterwards. We just had so much to talk about and we all got on so well. And as I said, absolutely love the pre-race boys. Hopefully we can do some more stuff in the future. What pre-race will look like in 2023, you guys are going to just have to wait and see, I'm afraid. But I'd love to know your thoughts. So which was your favorite of those collabs? Was it Tomo on Albon, CF Racing on Ferrari, the Mexico last lap pod, or pre-race podcasty? The best collab of 2022. What are you guys feeling? What are you thinking? If I had to pick, I'll let a few of you decide first before I throw it out there. I feel like there's a few here because they both kind of sparked, or like the first two, the individual ones where I'm just with Tomo or just with CF, they kind of sparked quite a lot for me moving forward. Like the fact that I got to have a chat to Tomo meant that, you know, later on down the line, there was a little voice in the back of his head that was like, oh, we need someone for the Mexican Grand Prix, the worst Grand Prix of the year. How about not applicable? And then obviously CF Racing, that led to me meeting Cars with Connor. Cars with Connor led to me meeting On Track. And it was just like, that all came to fruition. And therefore also kind of made the pre-race happen. So it's a bit of an interesting one because without Tomo, there's no last lap. Without CF Racing, there's no pre-race. But also then the last lap and pre-race themselves were kind of big things for me at the time. And I've always wanted to have a podcast. We'll see what happens with pre-race. We'll see what happens. But I'd love to know. Oh my God. Okay. It's 33% Tomo, 33% last lap, 33% pre-race. If you haven't voted yet, you could be the deciding factor. And if nobody votes in the next sort of 30 seconds as we head into the 2-minute mark, then I will have the defining vote for the best collab of 2022. I will take the mantle and I will bring it upon me. What is going to win? Last lap jumps into the lead. Last lap gets the vote. Mexican Grand Prix last lap going once, going twice. There's the 2-minute marker. Bang. The last lap /NA
I loved it when loads of people thought I was Max Fosh as well. That was very fun. That was another thing that happened in the last lap podcast. Everyone thought I was Max Fosh on the thumbnail. So that was fun. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Okay. We move forwards. Only forwards. As ever. 3 more categories to go. Can I puke in a bag when you own a Max Driver of the Year? We're not going to do those kind of awards, mate. You're in the wrong place if you're looking for real Formula 1 awards. Everyone else does real Formula 1 awards. We do stupid Formula 1 awards. Should we do the strangest video of 2022? Because I came up with some strange video ideas. Not going to lie to you, lad. Not going to lie to you. I came up with some strange video ideas in 2022. It was a year that we did a little bit of to-ing and fro-ing. We came up with some ideas. We tried them out. A lot of them were weird. And these were the strangest ones. Formula 1 clickbait. I did a video where for some reason I ranked Formula 1 clickbait titles. Which I think would have been fine if it was a stream. And like it was a back and forth. A weird video concept though. Real weird video concept. Didn't really go how I thought it was going to. And a lot of people were annoyed that they just weren't ever been included into these Formula 1 worst things. Where is it? Ooh, I don't mind that haircut, you know. Maybe I'll get this haircut back. Kind of going for like the flowing locks look. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little look at some of these thumbnails that made it in. Bonotto fired. Actually came true. So that is actually okay now. He's a blank. Little bit of an exaggeration. But we don't know what this word is. So that's okay. The cult of Vettel. Again, I thought was like kind of fine. Cheaters, meh. Super silly, retired. Unknown facts. The fact that Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are in the Buzz Lightyear film. I actually quite like this thumbnail. But I thought it was very weird at the time. This was a very odd thumbnail. Oh, so Max Verstappen as a pilot. Max Verstappen getting pulled over by the... Lots of police. I remember this being a thing. Lots of police related thumbnails in Formula 1 for some reason. I guess because like you expect them to be like fast drivers, fast cars. They'll get pulled over by the police quite often. And then this thumbnail with Lewis Hamilton and this woman that we'll come back to. Also this thumbnail with Putin, Hamilton, Russell, Steiner in a Haas, an alligator. This is all very strange. All very strange. But it was a very weird video. Wasn't it? Wasn't it a very weird video? I think so. And that's why it's in the strangest Formula 1 videos category. Second strange Formula 1 video. I was a Formula 1 driver for a day. Concept, it was the summer break. I had a couple of weeks off work. Formula 1 drivers have one of the most dangerous and intense jobs there is on the planet. Having to deliver week after week, knowing that just thousandths of a second can mean the difference between victory and defeat, knowing that millimeters can mean the difference between success and destruction. And I've always thought to myself, I'd probably make a pretty good Formula 1 driver.
I am stupid. I am stupid. I switch off everything.
But the reason I haven't made it yet is because I'm not dedicated to the sport like these Formula 1 drivers are. So I dedicated 24 hours of my life to living like a Formula 1 driver, from food to exercise to sim racing. I did it all, and here's how it went. Good concept, but strange video, and also started weird.
Most Formula 1 drivers seem to start their day with some cardio of some kind, whether that be cycling in the case of Valtteri Bottas, or Charles Leclerc we saw climbing mountains in Monaco, so I thought I'd climb a hill in Norwich.
I don't feel like this is a terrible video. It kind of is. I feel like it's quite a terrible video. I mean, it's an okay-ish video that was just weird at the time. It was just weird. Becoming a Formula 1 driver for a day, I enjoyed. So sour. So sour. Stop, please.
Can't be forgotten. We'll get there. We'll get there, Graham. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But yeah, I did actually enjoy this video, and it was really fun to make and like do, and it was very different for me to kind of just carry a camera around for like 24 hours, basically, is what I did, and then chop it down to 8 minutes. For some reason, I decided that this would be like a cool shot. So this is Norwich behind me. But actually, it's just like lots of trees, isn't it? Because this is like a hill very near my house. Lots of trees. Cathedral in the background, which is actually underneath me, so you can't see it. And then, yeah, this is just Norwich.
Norwich are pretty similar to one another once you break it down. Then it's all about planning the day out to make sure that you're prepared for that next race. We have to remember that these guys are professional athletes. They're trying to get the best out of themselves every single Sunday. And then
siren there, siren in the background. Didn't realize that there was a siren in the background because I was worried about this, whatever this is, like a bee. Also, I'm wearing a headphone so I can hear myself through the phone because I was making sure that the audio was like picking it up. And for some reason, I just missed the siren. Just wasn't paying attention, missed the siren.
They're making sure that they're always looking forward to that next Grand Prix. Then the next thing is making sure that you get some stretches in, making sure that you're feeling mobile, make sure you haven't got any injuries niggling. And then, of course, get some food in, making sure that you're fueled for the day. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't realise how busy a Formula One driver's day is.
Because as soon as you finish breakfast, it's straight into the gym for the first training session of the day. From what I've been able to find, most Formula...
Look at my home gym setup. I've now got a rowing machine there as well. Home gym. Home gym. Look at my little weedy arms. And I have a home gym and I do it 3 times a week and I still can't get bigger. Anyone got any gym any gym tips? Don't get me wrong, like I don't hate how I look, but I just wish I was like, you know, little bigger, a bigger boy. That's a little bigger of a boy. That'd be quite nice. But I'm just not a very big boy. What are we lifting? Should we see what we're lifting at this time?
Forces going through those corners, and I mean, just look at Fernando Alonso. He's basically 80% neck.
What are we pressing?
Shoulders, because think about it, you're taking a...
Oh, look at that. 5, 10. It's 20 kilo per arm. 20 20s per arm, I think. Unless these are the 2.5s, in which case that's 10 per arm. Might have been 10 per arm by back then. Back then, a few months ago. Not happy about it. But being a Formula 1 driver for a day was an interesting video. Weird one to do. 5 Formula 1 curses is next. This was, again, a weird concept for a video. It was around about the time that Charles Leclerc and the whole Monaco thing was going on. And he just crashed, was it Lauda's car? I think it was Lauda's car. Where it was like, oh, no.
With all the talk surrounding Charles Leclerc's curse heading into the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix.
Early in the year as well.
I thought, what better a weekend?
Look at that haircut. That's early trim. So I grew my hair real long and then donated it to charity. And then it was very short for a little while. Little pineapple head. Like, comes up. Dink. Little pineapple. And then back down. Back down again. F1 curses. First curse was that Nick will never get a Formula 1 seat. Nick de Vries will never get a Formula 1 seat. Well, how wrong I was proven. Hulkenberg podium. Do you reckon Hulkenberg gets a podium for Haas? I reckon all of these come true, you know. What else was there? Oh, yeah, Heidfeld. I think Heidfeld was... What was Heidfeld's?
To pick up podiums over the course of his Formula 1 career, but was never able to turn them into victories. That's right.
Oh, yeah, most podiums without a win was Nick Heidfeld. Most podiums without a win. And Leclerc in Monaco and Massa's championship. Oh, touchy. Touchy for Ferrari fans, this video, wasn't it? Leclerc's not good enough in Monaco and Massa was never good enough to win a world championship. It was cursed. Obviously talking about Brazil, where he won the championship for like 30 seconds. And then the final one, again, I couldn't find the stream to this. I feel like YouTube and streams are a little bit 50-50 as to whether they save sometimes. I couldn't find the stream for this, but we did a stream where I had to race on Formula 1 2022, And if I didn't win by midnight, I had to eat like the spiciest pepper. I think it was a habanero pepper that I found at my local Tesco. But luckily, I did win a race. I think I won a race 11 like 40. I had like 2 or 3 more attempts, and then I'd have been eating that habanero. And I'm not a fan of spicy food, so I feel like this as a challenge will definitely be back this year. Because if you guys want to see me cry, then spicy food is the way to go. But which one do you think is the strangest video? So not the best out of these 4. Like, when you saw it pop up in the channel, you were like, what? This is not an NA video. I might do Driver for a Day again, though. That was actually fun. But there we go. You got your 2 minutes. Here's your voting time. Which one of these was the strangest video? Like, when you saw it pop up, you were like, no, that's weird. That is so weird. I'd eat Posh Spice. Would you? Isn't okay. I don't know. She's not really not my bag. Victoria Beckham, bless her. Also, like, quite old now. Quite an old Spice Girl. So, I do like the Spice Girls, though. I think the Spice Girls are, like, not underrated, obviously. They were, like, the biggest girl band of their time. But, you know. Gotta go with Driver for a Day. Fun video, but definitely unexpected. Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird shout. I don't know what I was feeling. I think I literally planned that video in, like, a day as well. Usually I spend maybe 3 or 4 days on a video from start to finish. Like, writing, sorting out it, finding B-roll, then recording, then sorting out, etc., etc. I think I did the Formula 1 driver in a day in, like, a day. I remember, like, editing it the night of doing, like, recording it. So it was a bit of a rush video as well, maybe. Not rushed, but I don't know. It captivated me. It was one that I wanted to just do. Just do the whole thing in a whole day. Record it, sort it out, do it, done. F1 clickbait, Driver for a Day. It's 50-50. Here we go. We've got about 30 seconds left. If you haven't voted, get your vote in. It's going to go one way or the other. F1 clickbait. F1 clickbait takes it. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. I mean, talking of F1 clickbait, that is the next category. Hold for one moment, just while I grab this. F1 clickbait. Dave Beck's mate still looks good. That is true. David Beckham still looks good, but I don't know. Posh Spice has never been the one for me. How people can just insult anybody because they're married to somebody who is a team boss of a team that Max races for. What does that even mean? That's not Posh Spice. That's Ginger Spice. Shaking to the left because she's having a good time. Shimmy to the right because you know what it feels like. Shake it to the go round. Okay, worst clickbait. Worst clickbait is the next category. Ba-bing. Let me get the thumbnails up for you. Choice number 1. Daniel Ricciardo, he will never be back. Obviously, I don't truly believe this. Well, I do. I explain why I think it's very unlikely that Daniel Ricciardo will ever be back in Formula 1. But this video was actually explaining why he left. More so than he'll never be back. So I feel like this was quite clickbaity at the time. You know, the never highlighted. I do quite like this new style of thumbnail, though. I feel like I've finally settled on a style of thumbnail that I actually like. It took me a little while to kind of get there. Went through a lot of iterations to really get to where I wanted to be with the thumbnails. And I do really like this thumbnail, but it is quite clickbaity. It is quite clickbaity. Because I do think Daniel Ricciardo might be back on the Formula 1 grid at some point. I don't think he's completely done and dusted out here. I feel like he could be back. Option number 2 for worst clickbait of 2022. Ba-bang. New Abu Dhabi footage. Oh, mon chéri. You have the new Abu Dhabi footage. Oui, oui. This was not really anything new. I think this was like a video that came out and Michael Massey said... What did he even say? I think he just said something about like how he'd got it wrong. That was it. He's like, I just got it wrong, lads. Got it wrong. Look at Toto Wolff's little face there. Look at that. And Michael Massey, little smile on his head. Lewis Hamilton. The only picture of Lewis Hamilton that looks any good in that style of thumbnail. Beautiful. What a beautiful thumbnail, but also very clickbaity because there was not really any new Abu Dhabi footage. It was kind of a little bit of new Abu Dhabi footage, but not like loads of new Abu Dhabi footage that we all like needed to rush to and be like, oh my God, they are going to change the title. No, it's just a bit of fun, bit of clickbait fun. Third choice for Formula 1 clickbait. And it was the Formula 1 clickbait video itself. It was the Formula 1 clickbait video itself. And of course, well, this is not my fault. So all I did was take one of the clickbait thumbnails and put it inside of a PC. That's not my thumbnail. There, is it? It's my thumbnail in a whole, but in the PC is not my thumbnail. But also quite clickbaity. Also got loads of comments on this video. Either one, asking me who she is, or two, telling me that I should know who she is. Because I think in the video I say, I don't really know who this woman is. And I feel like she's probably actually never met Lewis Hamilton. I just say that Lewis Hamilton is a lot of the time baited and clickbaited like this because he is a single Formula 1 driver and doesn't have any children. You know, you'd never see Sebastian Vettel in a thumbnail like this just because he has kids, he's got a wife, etc., etc. Like Lewis Hamilton, just because he's single, is kind of also used in this way by the Formula 1 media as like this kind of Lewis Hamilton ladies man thing. And maybe he is. But that's absolutely fine. Like, we don't need to know about it. And, like, they shouldn't go on about it in the same way that they do. But anyway, yeah, I don't actually know who this woman is. So, I'm just saying, again, apologies. But I can't, I feel like I've said this to so many people. I can't help it. I can't help it. I don't know who it is. I can't help you find out who it is. Maybe you can back Google search this picture. And it will give you probably Lewis Hamilton. Because he's probably a bit more famous than this woman. Apologies. Fourth and final choice for worst clickbait of the year. Bing! It's the Stroll video. It's the Stroll video. The best performing video of the year. But also, it was a good video. And I stand by it. Because it went through a few of the problems that I have with Aston Martin. Is Lawrence Stroll going to leave the team? No. Did I think he was going to leave the team? No. But there were sort of twos and fros, and there were lots of people that kind of pointed the finger at him. And there were points in the season where I thought he might just give up with this Aston Martin kind of project. And therefore, went with a little Stroll. Please stay, daddy. I think it's the word daddy, isn't it? It's the word daddy that really, like, really makes this thumbnail just makes it sing. You know what I mean? This is a classic little bit of clickbaity, thumbnaily goodness. And you know what? Sometimes I look at a thumbnail after I've made it, And I don't really realize how clickbaity it is. I feel like it's very easy to come onto a creator's channel and be like, this is clickbait. But like at the same time, I want to make a thumbnail which is captivating. And I just wanted to make a thumbnail that was a little bit of a joke. That was all I made this thumbnail for. I just thought it was funny. And that's why I chucked it there. I genuinely think these conversations happen at the table if Lance doesn't eat his veggies. Maybe. Look, Lance, if you don't eat your vegetables, I'm gonna have to leave the Aston Martin Formula 1 project. No, Dad, I'll eat them. But they are the 4 thumbnails that we have got for you to pick from. Okay, so I'll quickly do the poll and then I'll show you them one last time. Worst clickbait of the 2020. Oh, again, I've just done the yes, no thing. I keep forgetting to add the things. I've done it again. Right, you can tell it's getting towards the end of the evening, lads, because... Oh, dear. None of my concern, but I occasionally think Lewis Hamilton might bat the other way. Really? I've never really got that vibe from him personally. What makes you say that? No, don't answer that. Clickbait. Right, let's actually add some options this time. Third time's the charm. We've got the Stroll thumbnail. We've got the clickbait thumbnail. It was literally clickbait itself. We've got the Danny Rick. And we've got... What was the other one? Oh, yeah, Abu Dhabi. Boom. 2 minutes. The 2022 Most Clickbait Thumbnail Award goes to, again, Daniel Ricciardo. He's never coming back. Abu Dhabi footage. Michael Massey. He's got the Abu Dhabi footage. He's never coming back either. Who made this? Who made this clickbait? Me. But who made this clickbait? Me. And then Stroll, Daddy, please stay. Please stay, Daddy. Probably shouldn't say this. This is going to be clipped up, isn't it? Someone's now got just me saying, please stay, Daddy. And they can clip that up and use that for whatever they'd like. But you know what? Feel free. I would like my daddy to stay. Not that my daddy's ever left, because I literally have a very good relationship with my father. Got deep, didn't it? Got deep all of a sudden. Anyway, your votes are in. Abu Dhabi with a little cheeky play. But the Stroll thumbnail coming out. I thought it might be the clickbait thumbnail, you know. Just because I put a scantily clad lady on the front. But you guys seem to be fine with the clickbait thumbnail. Abu Dhabi. No one's gone for the clickbait thumbnail. Even the Danny Rick thumbnail. That's only like a few weeks old. But I did think was quite clickbaity. Was quite clickbaity. But it looks like it's going to be Lance Stroll. Please stay, Daddy. Please stay, Daddy. We end Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll, ladies and gentlemen. 60% of the vote. Lance Stroll takes the worst clickbait of the year. Final category. We come to the end of our Formula 1 Not Applicable 2022 awards show with the best video of the year. I just chose my kind of favorites that I've made over the course of the year. There was Sergio Perez is already a Red Bull legend, talking about how he helped Max Verstappen win his first championship and how I thought he was going to help Max Verstappen win a second championship and a Red Bull Constructors Championship, which did come true. And therefore, Sergio Perez is indeed, I think now, a Red Bull legend. We've got to remember that Red Bull are a very young team. So they haven't got loads of drivers.
With the Monaco win behind him and the Azerbaijan...
It's a bit like Kevin Magnussen is the best Haas driver ever. Because Haas only have like 5 drivers to pick from. 6 drivers now with Nico Hülkenberg. So I feel like Sergio Perez, being a Red Bull legend, I go through Red Bull's problem. I thought this was quite a good like build-up, talking about, you know, Alex Albon, Danny Kvyat, the problems that Red Bull have got. They've got a few problems of Red Bull. And Checo just being sensational. 2021 season, I go through Sergio Perez, the Sakir Grand Prix. Oh, he's going to retire. Oh, nobody wants to take in little Sergio Perez. Bang, comes back, all out of nowhere. Bang, Sergio Perez on the grid, comes to Red Bull, wins them a championship, wins some races. Oh, look at this statistic. Sergio Perez, second best average finishing position in 2022 of all the bloody drivers on the grid. Comes third in the end. Fair enough, but he was very, very good. Very, very good as Sergio Perez. And in my opinion, already a Red Bull legendo. Checo, one of my favorite videos to put together. Really enjoyed just kind of going back through the career of Red Bull and Sergio Perez and kind of how they met and then how Sergio Perez has clicked with the team so well. Second one, I only really put this in the running because it's the best viewed video of the year. If I'm
Silly season feels like it's getting closer and closer every single day now. And this time around, I want to talk about everybody's favourite daddy's boy. It's Lance Stroll. He's one of many drivers whose contract is up at the end of this 2022 season. And could this be the start of the end for the Canadian in Formula One? Because Aston Martin find themselves in a very awkward situation coming into this season. Let's not forget that this is a team that completely abandoned the 2021 campaign. While it looked like they were battling for 5th place with Alpine and AlphaTauri, they completely gave up on that and said to themselves they were going to focus on the 2022 regulations. And to be fair, it kind of made sense. Aston Martin coming in as this new ownership, they wanted to flex their muscles and really show what they could do with this Aston Martin team. We all expected them to jump up to the top of the midfield and maybe even cause a stir with the top teams as well. Hasn't quite gone that way though. They currently find themselves 8th place.
I feel like this is a good video. It was a little bit clickbaity, as we talked about. But it was a good video, and it broke down kind of why I thought Aston Martin were kind of on the wrong path, if I'm honest. You know what I mean? And then Ferrari's problem. Actually, a recent video, a couple of weeks old now. I want to say, a couple of weeks old.
Everybody's a Ferrari fan. Even if they're not, they are a Ferrari fan.
The most successful team in Formula One history, the team that is seen as by far and away the most prestigious team on the grid, has slowly turned into a laughingstock and a meme generator over the last few seasons. And in Formula One, when things go wrong, all eyes turn to the team principal. Another one bites the dust in Maranello. 8 years, soon to be 5 team principals, 0 championships. I don't like that transition. What is going on behind the scenes at Ferrari? I think before we delve into why Ferrari have changed up their team principle so much in the last few seasons, we have to understand actually what the team principle does, because it's actually quite a complicated and weird job on the Formula One grid. In its most simplistic terms, the team principal is the boss of the Formula One team. The boss of the Formula One team. I really enjoyed putting together this video. It allowed me to kind of go back through the history of Ferrari, so I started... So who are these 5 brave characters that Ferrari have had at the helm over the last 8 years?
Old Binotto.
First, they had Steph.
Kind of went through Binotto. Domenicali through to Binotto is what I meant. Started with Domenicali, kind of went through the eras of Ferrari, what went wrong in each of those eras. 2014 being hilarious, by the way. Also, Maurizio, the mistake.
Maurizio Arrivabene, the man who oversaw the majority of the Vettel era at Ferrari and of course brought in now #1 Charles Leclerc, but the ending of Arrivabene's tenure does have parallels to what we've seen this year with Binotto.
True. I feel like Arrivabene and Binotto were like polar opposites of one another, but they went through kind of the same cycle where they came in and Ferrari was a bit rubbish. They brought Ferrari up and then Ferrari dropped back down again, sort of under them. They got to the point where they could have won a title, and then they messed it up. The team got it wrong, etc., etc., and then Ferrari just kind of cut it. But I really enjoyed putting together this video. This was probably Is this my favorite video of the year? This is when I started to kind of change up the format a little bit and started to do something a little bit different. I like the Ferrari problem. I enjoy that one. And then, of course, my best video, not on my channel, but we've already touched upon it. The last lap pod was an exceptional video to be a part of. I think it did pretty well. I think it did like 10k views, something like that. I want to say. But what do you think was my best video of these options? Was it Sergio Perez and how he's become a Red Bull legend? Was it Daddy Stroll? And the one that most people clicked on. Was it Ferrari? And a little bit of a breakdown of how Ferrari have done over the course of the season. Or was it the last lap pod? Me and the boys on the last lap. Just having a little chat. Having a little chat after Mexico. What do you think? How many Eddies in Poland? Don't know. Need a yellow pages or something. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Which was your favourite of my favourite 4 videos? Actually, I don't know. The Daddy Stroll video is not one of my favourite 4. But statistically the best. So I kind of had to put it in the mix. Didn't I? But I'd love to know your thoughts. Which one of those 4 do you think deserves the crown upon crowns? The best of the best. The stream/video of the 2022 calendar. And 2023 is already underway. We've already started our 2023 building towards the 2023 season. Wow, it's Daddy Stroll in the lead again as the best video of the year. Are we just voting for that one because it allowed me to actually, like, get this desk so that I didn't have to sit over there anymore? You're like, you know what? That's the best video, even though it's not even amazing. It's just, it got you enough money to actually be able to move into a desk that actually works. And therefore, it's worth having a look. Live in the US now. Moved when you were 8. That's pretty cool. There it is. The Daddy Stroll video wins the best video of the year. I'm not 100% sold on that personally. If I was going to vote, I think I'd have gone for the Ferrari problem. Maybe that's recency bias though, because I like to think that I'm getting better. Getting better over time. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, if you progressively got better at something that you enjoy. My highlights, though, just 3 things that I wanted to kind of touch upon. Thank you guys for, and talk about moving forward. Getting invited to the last lap, as I touched upon, it felt like a real big step. It gave me so much drive, changed the way that I view YouTube. I feel like I went a little bit off the rails maybe in November, December. Had a couple of months where I didn't quite know what I was doing. I think going to the last lap, as much as it was an incredible experience, it also made me completely rethink what I actually want from this. It made me try weird videos and maybe try weird calibers of things that I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. But now we've headed into 2022. I've had a couple of months since that Mexico Grand Prix and the last lap experience to kind of re-center myself as a human being. And now I feel like I know what I want moving forwards, which is nice. So getting invited to the last lap definitely changed up my year a lot. Working with the pre-race pod, those lads, as I said, just absolutely love working with the pre-race boys. I really hope that we get to do something again this year, depending on how our schedules line up and various bits and pieces. I need to sort out that as well. It's kind of on me too. And then also getting to spend the races with you guys, making friends along the way. I feel like I just know you guys so well, even though, like, obviously we've never met in person. We've met through the screen, but I just sort of know you all so well, your personalities. We get to chat so much. I know who you support. I know which drivers you like and don't like. It's just lovely. Lovely to be part of a community that I really enjoy spending time with. And that's, again, why I want to continue to make videos and continue to live stream more in 2023. Am I full-time? Oh, no way. No, I as much as I have, like, I make a little tiny chunk of money from Formula One on YouTube. I mean, I can tell you how much I've made over the last couple of months. Maybe 100 quid. That's kind of where we're at. I really am nowhere near full-time. I feel like people underestimate how many subscribers you have to go full-time. And also just how many, well, it's not even subscribers, just how many views. How many views you need to get to go full-time. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of views that you need to go full-time. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. If you'd like to help me go full-time, you can become a member. Linked below. I'm also going to be doing bi-weekly members videos as well in 2023. So that's something to look forward to, isn't it? If you want to become a member, you'll get an extra video every couple of weeks. And possibly an extra stream every now and then, just specifically for members. So that'd be nice. It's about £3 a month. So about the price of a nice coffee a month. And if I could get to the point where I have like 100-ish members, then maybe I could start to dream about being full-time. But it's down the line. It's way down the line. Deserve a lot more subs. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. I feel like I don't. I feel like I definitely went off the rails a little bit towards the end of 2022 and kind of lost my way, didn't know what I was doing, and therefore the channel also just fluctuated and didn't do what I wanted to do, and it was weird. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of you saying that, and as I said, I just love spending time with you. What's my name? James. That is my name. But I kind of go by lots of things. Tomo calls me JB, which I like, which I do enjoy. Even though no one's ever nicknamed me before. Tomo instantaneously met him, right? Last lap pod story. Was walking into the last lap studio. First two people I bump into. First person I bump into before I even get into the studio, Will Ennie. Mental. He's also doing like a Mexican Grand Prix thing for the McLaren Formula One channel. So he disappears off into like a room. But I meet him. He actually lets me into the building. So without Will Ennie, I wouldn't have actually got onto the last lap because I had no idea how I was going to get there or where I was going to. I literally bumped into him and I was like, oh my God, amazing. Lovely to meet you, Will Ennie. By the way, are you on the last lap as well? And he was like, no, but I know where it is. So he actually directed me to the last lap. Wouldn't have got there without Will Ennie. Cheers, mate. Then I get in, bump into Theo Baker and Reeve, who had just been doing their football pod, the pitch side pod. So they'd just been doing that. And like, jumped in. And then, yeah, it was just mad. And then obviously got to do the last lap. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Shall we move on? That was lovely though. Thank you for doing the awards with me. Thank you for 2022. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the subscriptions. Thank you for all of the views. Every minute of your life that you waste on me is staggering to me. Staggering. Like, I just absolutely cannot believe that I get this opportunity to like be with you guys and do this so often. So yeah, massive, massive appreciation. And obviously, the biggest award goes to you guys. As much as we've just gone through 8 awards for various bits and pieces. For me, what shall we do? Sorry to be annoying, but let's do the Mohawk 2022 awards. Polish Eddie, you are pushing this. You're pushing this. Shall I see if I can find it? I'll see if I can find it. And we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. What was his name? Rocket Powered Mohawk. Oh, it does come up. This is going to ruin my algorithm. Better not ruin my algorithm. Oh, damn. 200k. Who is this lad? How have I not, like, come across him at some point? Is he, what kind of content are we, like, going for? I'm not a fan of this thumbnail, I'm gonna be honest with you. It looks like he might be kind of the other side of Formula 1 YouTube. You know what I mean? The flip reverse of Formula 1 YouTube that I generally frequent. But let's have a little look. Let's have a little look. Shall we? 16 minutes, 37 seconds.
Formula 1 award shows. They're awkward, boring, difficult to watch, and potentially satanic.
I remember later that evening I went to the bathroom and Ross Brawn was there standing next to me at the urinals. I was thinking, oh, it's absolutely massive, to be honest. I think this is my chance to pounce. And I need to get in front of him. I was sort of in the corner. It was a late night. I think I had a glass of red wine in my hand at the time as well. So I was an 11-year-old kid.
God damn. I edited that together to make it look bad.
So is it basically just like funny Formula 1? Like, it gives me kind of like FP1 Will vibes. Is it kind of that kind of thing where he's going to make lots of like quick fire jokes about Formula 1? Almost like stand-up comedy stroke Formula 1. That kind of in between the two.
George Russell is not the victim of a satanic cult, as far as we know. That was at the Autosport Awards, where George Russell picked up a trophy for Moment of the Year because of his amazing victory at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Alright, that was a nice moment and everything, but listen to who the other nominations were.
Which moments have been nominated? We have Nick de Vries, point scoring for Williams on his F1 debut.
Nick should have got it. It was George's first win, though, wasn't it?
Max Verstappen's record-breaking 14th win of the season in Mexico. And Ross Chastain's incredible ride around the wall at Martinsville in NASCAR.
Nick de Vries scoring
points.
Oh,
no. The NASCAR guy should have got it. Everyone enjoyed that. Remember the NASCAR guy? I don't remember his name, but when he did the wall slide, he did the cheat. He did the Gran Turismo. Went all the way around.
Monza, R.I.P. Latifi. Max Verstappen's record-breaking 14th win of the season, nobody cares. And Ross Chastain's incredible ride around the wall at Martinsville in NASCAR. I didn't know what that was, and then I found out.
A championship in Phoenix. Take a look at what he did.
I have never seen anything like that before in my life.
Wide open. Around the wall in 3 and 4 at Martinsville.
Ridiculous.
Forget about Auto Sport Moment of the Year. He should have been awarded the fucking Nerve of the Year. How is that not a category? And how did that not win Moment of the Year? So the Milky Bar Kid won a race for the first time. Who gives a shit? This guy defied the laws of physics. So all you have to do to win an award these days is give...
As a physics teacher, I'd say he didn't defy the laws of physics. But it should have been the NASCAR guy. I completely agree with it. It should have been the NASCAR guy. The NASCAR guy would have been.
Ross Brawn a hand job at the urinals. Speaking of awards going to the wrong people, this is Christian Horner in a tuxedo. And this is the president of the FIA, Mohammed bin Salem. And when the two of them got together at the FIA prize-giving ceremony, something beautiful happened. Mohammed was telling jokes, comedy, zingers, banter.
Yeah, this was awkward.
It was a car crash.
I remember seeing this.
You know, I'll say something to Christian. Christian, this cup is nothing to do with the cost cap, okay? So be careful. You know, this is from the FIA, so we are not going to deduct it from your cost cap, okay?
No, that's very generous. Thank you.
Japan, you said was controversial. No. The FIA was blamed for the points, but it was not the FIA which made the rules. It was the teams who made the rules, and we were implementing it. So thank you for the
Okay, guys.
Yes, you see?
Let's stay focused.
Wow, hello. I forgot about this. I remember I saw these on Twitter, like his jokes to Christian Horner. And oh my god, what on earth was he thinking at this time? Oh, it's so bad, isn't it? So cringy. So cringy. Bless him.
To me, it's very, very clear about the FIA, and we do that. So thank you very much.
Mohammed bin Salem, more like Mohammed's been salamin margaritas because he was drunk. That's a perfect joke. That's wordplay. But the point is, both of these award shows were boring. And that gave me an idea. Why don't I host my own award show right here in the garage? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Garage like red. No, I mean, why is he working in like a red light garage? If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. It's a very red hue that he has in the garage, and that does concern me. Concerns me. Just the same.
Lame. Instead, I have categories like, why do you have to ruin everything, you slippery little bastard of the year? Fucking... what the bloody hell are you playing at, dickhead of the year? And I've thrown up in my own mouth of the year categories that matter. But the first category is Sigma Bastard of the Year. This is an award for the most badass, thick-shafted, cock-making, vagina-exploding display of power of the season. In third place, Fernando Alonso at the Belgian Grand Prix. After being involved in a first-lap collision with Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso's car was undamaged, and so was his nerve. Because then he slags Hamilton off on the radio, calling him an idiot and saying he only knows how to drive in first.
I just feel
then,
like
as Hamilton
this guy, he's got a good concept here. Obviously, right? It's working. It's working. He just doesn't need to like. I don't know. He just plays up to this character a little bit too much, I guess. I just maybe I'm just like a stickler. I'm not a massive fan of swearing. I'm gonna throw it out there. I feel like it's just unnecessary quite a lot of the time, and therefore it just seems a bit much. Just seems a bit much for me.
Pulled over to the side of the track, Fernando drove past waving his finger, sending Team LH into a nervous breakdown.
That idiot! This guy only knows how to drive Verstappen first.
But I mean, I do quite like this award.
In second place, Kevin Magnussen
choice.
at the Brazilian Grand Prix. After the
Also
Milky
very
Bar
sick.
kid fucked his Mercedes into the gravel, causing a red flag, it was Kevin Magnussen with the fastest time in qualifying. All the cars returned to the pit lane and waited for the session to restart. But then, it starts to rain, and the track is getting wetter by the second, and so was every woman in Denmark. Because by the time the session did restart, the track was undrivable. Cars went out and then came straight back in, and as the clock ticked down, it slowly became apparent Kevin Magnussen had done the impossible. Dragged that shitbox Haas to pole position.
How is that second place? I'm going to be very impressed if something can beat that. That was definitely my Sigma moment of the year.
And the winner of Sigma Bastard of the Year is Fernando Alonso at the US Grand Prix. After the safety car restart, Fernando went for an overtake on Lance Stroll. But because Lance Stroll is a disgrace to humanity, he moved at the last second, causing a massive accident. Stroll's tyre explodes, the rear wing gets torn off, he spins in the middle of the straight and retires. But what happened to Fernando? He's flying through the air on two wheels, lands it, slams into the barriers, keeps it in a straight line, drags it all the way back to the pits, and even though the car was damaged and there were bits flying off all over the place, he got back up to 7th. Then, after the race, the FIA gave him a 30-second penalty because of that wing mirror that flew off. Cox. But then Alpine protested the penalty, the FIA backed down, and Fernando gets to keep 7th place. In the official documents, the FIA said the reason why Fernando was allowed to keep 7th is because he is the Sigma Bastard of the Year.
I can take that. I can understand that. For me, it's Kevin Magnussen. I'll say it. But Fernando Alonso, pretty good.
Congratulations, Fernando. The next category is... Now, that's a lot of damage of the year. This is an award for a lot of damage. In third place, Mick Schumacher at the Monaco Grand Prix. Schumacher lost control going through the swimming pool section, hits the barriers, does a full 360, and then slams into the Armco, ripping the car in half. It looked like a big one. However, Haas's technical director, Simone, that is his name, they found most of the parts were still usable. He said the bodywork has been replaced, the Ferrari engine was undamaged, and the only thing that had to be replaced was the external gearbox. A rather unexpected result considering the magnitude of the accident. Estimated cost, $600,000.
No, that's a lot of...
Oh, is he doing it on terms of price?
In second place, Mick Schumacher at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Okay.
Schumacher was on his final run in Q2. But
who's
then
number
he
one
dropped
then?
it coming
I thought
out of
these
turn
two
10,
would be
slammed
easily
into
the
the
top
concrete
two.
barriers, ricocheted across the track,
Who's
and
number
eventually
one?
came to a
Is there a
stop
big-
against
Joe.
the opposite concrete
Joe.
barriers. Once again, ripping the car in half. Gunnar Steiner said after the crash, the chassis in itself doesn't seem to be broken. The side
Joe's
impact
wasn't his
structure, blah,
fault.
blah, blah.
So I don't
think
feel
the
like we
cost
can
is still
blame
pretty
Joe.
high because all the suspension is gone except the front left, blah, blah, blah. The rest is just like powder, carbon powder. Estimated damage, $1 million.
No, that's a lot of... Fuck off.
And the winner of Now That's a Lot of Damage of the Year is... the Silverstone Hurricane of Shite. Boris Johnson invaded Chinese airspace, flipping Guan Yu Zhou upside down and launching him into the 7th circle of hell. Then Sebastian Vettel rear-ended Alex Albon, spinning him into the
he's
wall.
taking up, like,
then he
all
got
of it.
torpedoed by Esteban
Can't-
Ocon.
well, you
then
can't
he got
just- you can't
torpedoed
throw out
again
the
by
whole
Yuki
thing
Tsunoda. Then a third
as the
plane hit
number
the
one.
Pentagon. Then Tower 7 collapsed all on its own. Then America invaded Iraq under the false pretense that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. 5 smashed up Formula One cars, $1.5 million. The World Trade Center plus the big hole in the Pentagon, $36 billion. Invading the Middle East to sow the seeds of democracy, $2.4 trillion. That's two,
Is he?
4, and
he
then
seems
11.
English. I feel like he should let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
7 zeros.
No, that's a lot of...
Weapons of mass destruction.
However, there's more. While all of that was going on, 5 protesters ran onto the track and sat down in the middle of the Wellington Straight. These are the same twats that glue themselves to pictures, lie down in the middle of the road blocking traffic, spray government buildings with orange paint. One of them cable-tied himself to a goalpost.
Hilarious.
They do it for attention, and that's what these pricks wanted. Attention. $2.4 trillion, yeah, that is a lot of money. But causing a massive distraction so these knobheads didn't get a second of airtime, priceless.
No, that's a lot of... wasted time.
Yeah, it's fair.
And the next category is I've thrown up in my own mouth of the year. And you know what? I'm not going to bother with third, second, and first place with it. It's the Miami Grand Prix. Of course, Miami is disgusting. The fake harbour, the Instagram influencers.
Oh, okay. It's like a cringe
ceremony,
of the year, right?
James Corden.
I didn't really know what this award was trying to be. I think it's like a cringe of the year.
But the worst moment by far was the grid walk, where Martin Brundle interviewed a plethora of celebrities. Cristiano Ronaldo, Barack Obama, Shaquille O'Neal, a social media sensation, a talking lamppost, and somebody called DJ Khaled.
We in Miami. This is my home.
It's the best music.
City in the world, and the whole world is here for this beautiful event. F1, family, fun, good energy, superstars, icons.
They didn't want us here at F1, but what?
God did.
God did.
That's right.
Utterly nauseating. I literally recoiled while watching it.
Congratulations, Miami. You are disgusting. And guess what? Formula One has signed a 10-year contract with Miami.
I quite
to host
like
the Grand Prix
US kind of
2031.
energy to the Grand Prix.
Maybe it's
a bit much
to
at times.
Equate
Don't
these
get me
two
wrong,
things,
but I quite like
but
it.
bear with me. America invaded
Feel like it's
Iraq
just something
because
different.
of an act
Formula
of
One
terrorism,
needs
right?
different.
And because they thought they had weapons of mass destruction, which they did not. Well, the Miami Grand Prix was an act of terrorism. I was terrified, and they have got weapons of mass destruction because if DJ Fat Tits jumps into a swimming pool, that will cause a tidal wave big enough to wipe out half of...
I feel like this guy, he just goes that little bit too far for me. Just that little bit too far for me. Gonna be honest, just that little bit too far. Like, you just don't need to talk about. I don't know. There's just something about it. Maybe it's I'm a little dweeb. I'm a dweeby guy. I'm a little dweeb. But I don't know. He just goes a little bit too far for me. Maybe if I got to chat to him, he's probably not actually like this, right? He's probably not. It's a bit of a character that he puts on for the show that is this. But I don't know.
Civilization. Invade them for the sake of democracy. I hate this jacket. I hate this jacket so much. Swear down, I mean, I'm straight. Why would anybody... Where's all the certificates? Oh, look at the certificates. I swear to God. And the next category is... Why do you have to ruin everything, you slippery little bastard of the year? In third place, Paul di Resta for commentating on the French Grand Prix. In second place, Paul di Resta for commentating on the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
I feel like he's not a fan of Paul di Resta.
In first place,
maybe
Paul di Resta for commentating on the Of course it's Paul di Resta. Everything he touches turns to lame. And we all know how it started. In 2012, he ruined the end of the World Championship by shagging his Force India into the wall. And what was a thrilling race between Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel ended behind the safety car. Michael Masi would be spinning in his grave. But after that, Paul was hooked. He was addicted to the feeling of ruining Formula One for everybody. And he had to get more.
Again,
so he became a pundit for Sky Sports
I don't
F1.
like Paul di Resta the
yes,
most.
I know. It's
I
not
don't think he's the best
to have this
pundit,
amount of animosity towards somebody for commentating
I just feel
on
like
Formula
I
One.
like.
And yes, I have
I like
said
to see
some very
the best in
mean-spirited
people.
things
I like the
about Paul
positivity.
di Resta
I
this
like to see
season.
the best.
I've called him a slippery little bastard, a Grand Prix killer, a witch, a fraud, a slob, the worst thing to happen to Scotland since the Dunblane massacre, an agent of the CCP, a baby harvesting goblin, a globalist mouthpiece,
Jesus, what is
a
this lad
degenerate
on?
sack of anti-human
Man.
trash, and half Italian. But because it's Christmas, and it's that time of year where you do some self-reflection, having thought about some of the things that I've said about Paul di Resta over this year, I just want to say I stand by them. He is a demon from the pit of hell, and he needs to be exorcised. And I don't mean exercised as in he needs to go for a run. I mean exorcised, as in a priest with a Bible and a crucifix performs a ceremony to remove the evil spirits from his soul.
The power of Christ compels you.
Or Sky Sports F1 could just hire somebody that isn't terrible. But an exorcism is more fun. What's the next category?
This lad is a madness, isn't he? This is my first... I feel like this shouldn't have been my first video of his. Because I'm not... I get where he's coming from. I understand the character. I get that it's satire. I understand it. But I don't know, it's just not like... It's not... I'm just a little baby boy. I'm a little baby boy when it comes to just being a little bit more PC. I just like seeing the best in people. I like being nice to one another. I just like enjoying. Like, I'm a little bit, you know, sometimes I talk about Lance Stroll. Sometimes I talk about Nicholas Latifi. And I'm a little bit negative. But I don't know. He's a bit much. He's a bit much. I love how he sits on the fence. Yeah, he's not a fence sitter, is this lad. He's not a fence sitter in any way whatsoever, is he? You know, he goes for stuff. You've got to give it to him. He is committed to his cause, and he believes in it. And it wasn't a bad video. I like it. Maybe we'll watch some of his other stuff. Maybe you guys can, you know, keep us updated. And maybe when he does a video that isn't, you know, the craziest thing in the world, we'll have another watch. Do I shut it off or not? That is the question. To be fair, it was captivating. Kept me watching, mainly because I just wanted to see how it could get worse. It was like watching a car crash, and you just can't. You know when you see a car crash on a motorway, and you slow down a little bit, you look over, and everyone does that. Because there's just that little extra bit of you that needs to know and like understand. That was kind of what it was like. It was like, I don't truly understand, but maybe it's just not for me, not for me. But there's stuff on YouTube for everybody. You know what I mean? I also don't like, I don't know, Logan Paul. I've never watched any of his content, but he's got a ridiculous amount of subscribers. And that's fun. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I'm going to quickly plug my video. If you haven't seen it, why? Well worth a watch. I'm going to pop in the chat for you, lads. But I have got to disappear because I have got to go and just got to go and sort my life out. And I've got to go and pick up some people from work. Some people who are still working at this fine hour of the day, and I've got to go and pick them up from that work. So that concludes our first Fun Friday stream. Funnest of Fridays. The Fridays are fun. I'm loving it. You're loving it. Welcome back to 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Not applicable Formula 1. Fun Friday streams start now. How about old Formula 1 season reviews and some old F1 video watch-alongs? Definitely. If you've got some Formula 1 videos you'd like me to watch, bing them to me. Bing them to me. In the comments down below. Because we are going to do little watch-alongs. We started today by obviously watching the Nico Rosberg and the rain video. But if you have some other videos that I haven't seen and you'd like us to have a little watch of that are motorsport related, let's, you know, try and keep in our lane a little bit. We can deviate sometimes. We'll watch some various bits and pieces. I would love to do some gaming-y stuff as well. So there will be gaming-y stuff, usually at the end of the stream, as it said in the plan. I was planning on doing a little bit of gaming tonight, but actually we've run into the 3-hour mark, I think. So time to call it a day from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for all of the likes on the stream. As I said, hopefully these can get bigger and better, and the concepts will get more complex as we go throughout the season. If you enjoyed it and you haven't leave a like as well. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you fancy becoming a member, it costs you about £3 a month, and it really does support the channel. It allows us to do stuff like this, and also allows me to get involved with other people along the way too. If you like this light, there is a link in the description down below where you can get yourselves one. They have all of the Formula 1 tracks available. And if you use code NAF1, then you get yourself 10% off at the end as well. If that isn't a deal, I don't know what is. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I will see you next